Younger women are clearly attracted to older men in every single one of the 130 countries studied by the Pew Research Center. Which brings me to my number one point. Don't be a wimp with younger women. We really hate that. Okay, soon after I graduated high school, two of my really close girlfriends started dating guys who were in their 40s. And this is when we were in our early 20s. And this is the same with most of our model female dating coaches that date and give feedback to our clients that I'm the boss of here at Social Coach. Sadly, the vast majority of you older men out there do not make use of your huge advantage over younger men in dating because you're just too much of a wimp. So we now specialize in working with men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and you guys are just so timid and make so many awful mistakes when dealing with the women you actually want to attract. As a result, you keep screwing up your chances or just completely miss great opportunities with women who actually like you. This means you end up staying single or end up settling with women who you aren't really that attracted to just to avoid the loneliness. So today I want to talk to you about the 5 most common mistakes I see older guys making with younger women in my coaching. And if you can simply stop making 1 or 2 of these mistakes, you'll end up attracting beautiful younger women so much easier than you ever thought possible. This has never been more true than today, where so many men have just completely given up on dating because of pornography, dating apps now seeming useless, plus the red pill movement making many men think that almost all of the 4.1 billion women on the face of this earth are psychopaths. Okay, so of the people watching our videos, 93.6 of you haven't subscribed. So if you could do me a huge favor and subscribe, ring the bell, and share this with your friends, any friends that you think might enjoy it, that would help us so much. And I'll start making more videos to help you guys way more. Okay, so what tends to happen with you wimpy older guys is, in my experience as, a perceivably attractive woman, you might seem to notice when we're trying to give you obvious signals that we want you to initiate. There's eye contact, there have been a few double takes, we can see that you've seen us and you never take action. And it is so frustrating. I have so many single friends that talk about this too. And if you do approach, you might be really tentative about it. Something like, hi, sorry to bother you. I hope you don't mind me coming to say hi. Yeah, are you alone or and we're just like, oh gosh, that's disappointing. Um, you've got this nice guy, polite voice, which is just so unattractive, so not confident, and yeah, all of our hopes and dreams of some attractive, confident guy coming to say hi have just completely disintegrated. So this, yeah, I can't tell you how many guys, because you're probably don't know what you're doing, or you just have been out of the game for a long time because maybe you've been in a long-term relationship, you've just come out of a divorce, or you've just never learned these skills before and you don't know what to do. So it scares you. We see this so often, but because not very many guys are good at doing this, the guys who do it well just stand out by so much. You stand out above like 95% of other guys, and it's really attractive. First impressions are huge, and it can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So I'm going to introduce my co-host James. He is the owner of Social Coach, and he has been a dating coach for over 20 years. So here's James. But stick around, because in the first 40 minutes, I'll show you how you can literally go on a date with me and get expert feedback about exactly what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong in dating, and what you need to do to improve with women dramatically. So here's James. Hello.
Thank you, Tess. A fantastic opening for the guys. Yeah, we've all been there. There's this girl, she's hot, she's younger. She might have even been touching your arm and giving you compliment after compliment that you may not have deserved. But you're still too much of a wimp to ask her out. Or if you're on a date, you're like, maybe I should. Some of you guys just go straight in and kiss her. Maybe you should start by taking her hand or touching her more on the shoulder. Maybe if you're standing up, touch her on the back. Yeah, as Tess explained, there's nothing worse for a beautiful woman than having some guy they're attracted to who's older than them, who's scary, who's scared of them. It just drives women nuts. I'm surrounded by all these models like Tess, who I hear some of these stories. So yeah, we're doing something new tonight. We're going to give you guys homework. We want you to actually take action, not just listen. So if you're sort of a beginner, you haven't approached a girl since the Obama presidency, or whatever, you're just a bit nervous, you're out of a long-term relationship, start a conversation with a sales assistant, a receptionist, a barmaid, just some girl, girl works at a cafe, just some girl who's younger than you, and ask her open-ended questions. Do whatever you're doing, order your drink, ask about the sunglasses, whatever it is. And once you've been talking for maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes, she seems comfortable. Do this. This is one of my favorite transition lines ever. I'll use one that I used in the real world. So, Jody, whatever your name is, tell me, what do you most love to do when you're not selling sunglasses at Sunglasses Hut Myers City? That's a big Australian department store for you American guys. So what that does, I call it a transition question. I think this is incredibly valuable to you guys. You meet some girl at a certain situation. She could be working, she could be at a bar, she could be at a cafe. And what you're doing is you're going from talking about sunglasses or talking about your dinner order or, how's your day gone? You're actually getting to know her. That's like quite a strong sexual escalation, and the girl might feel it that way, but it's a very smooth one. So repeat. So, Tess, tell me, what's your favorite thing to do when you're not changing the lives of guys doing YouTube lives? And yeah, what she does is if the girl will actually give you, she'll continue talking happily. She's like, okay, well, I'll tell him more about me. Doesn't mean she's dying to suck your little fella down there, but it's a good sign. She might do one time, but what it says is she's really open to having a more social conversation with you. The homework for you guys who are a bit more advanced, from what I see, many other dating coaches recommend, there's always some fancy, clever, possibly pickup artisty opener to ask a girl. So I strongly recommend just asking an open-ended question about whatever situation you're in. I sincerely believe it's the greatest dating tip of all time. So if you are a bit more advanced and you're going out and trying to intentionally talk to women, try to talk some who are younger than you. Some girls you might not ordinarily have the courage to talk about. Okay, big rule. Don't do anything remotely sexual. Just start a conversation with them. Now, if you're 62 with a full head of grey hair, don't start with an 18-year-old, maybe a 30-year-old or something. Let's be realistic here. Yeah, Tess, anything you wanted to add to that or any of the homework I gave?
Yeah, I love that homework, James. It's something I tell all of our clients. The more you're just practicing taking that first step to initiate, and it might not just be with women who you're really attracted to. This is like with people in general. It's just about being outgoing, being able to initiate, say hi to someone, ask a question, and engage with people in everyday life. It just makes it, you're training that skill, so it makes it that much easier when you're then faced with a woman who you're actually attracted to, who might be a little bit intimidating, but you've done it so many times that you do it all the time, so it's that much easier to just go and say hello. Yeah.
Fantastic. Number 2, if you're an impressive guy, don't freaking show off. This is one of the mistakes I must admit I make myself a lot. Before we go on, I need to apologize to everyone. I asked Tess to improve her background, and she got an A at short notice. I didn't even get an F. I got like a Z or something, or a Z as you Americans call it. Yeah, I spend all this time trying to give you guys the best life-changing content that I completely screwed up my background. I even forgot to eat. You might see me munching on some steamed broccoli and Atlantic dulse soon because I'm kind of hungry and I'm so skinny I might disappear. You might not see me next week if I don't get this into me. So yeah, if you're impressive, don't show off. The other thing we forgot to mention is, I don't know how long it'll be, about 40 minutes tonight. We'll show you how you can literally get a date and expert feedback with this beautiful former catwalk model turned head dating coach. For those of you who want to turn your life around like that. So it's coming up 30-40 minute mark. Okay, don't try to show off. Don't try to show off. This is, it's so close to number one, particularly with you guys who are quite impressive. Okay. I plead guilty. I plead guilty. I must admit, I know subconsciously when I'm, not particularly promiscuous, maybe I've been working hard and, whatever, not dating or not getting as much of the good horizontal fun as I usually do. Yeah, I can, and I meet a girl I quite like, I can start to just mention, I had a career in finance, I got to travel a bit and that sort of thing. And it's not just if I'm not promiscuous, occasionally, like I mainly live in Sydney now, and I've also lived in, Soho, New York, and place in Eastern Europe, St. Petersburg and Moscow, where the women are just like in another level. And sometimes I come across a girl that's like, a level or two above what I'm used to interacting with. And yeah, I end up talking about my finance career. I make so many of the mistakes I tell you guys not to make. The reason I'm such a good dating coach is because I've made every mistake in the book and learnt my lesson. But my biggest mistake was showing off me. Again, so much stuff I say about myself. It's not because I'm an egomaniac. I'm trying to reflect a mirror back on you guys. My biggest mistake is talking about how, whether it was, it's very promiscuous to be to 70 countries or 50 countries, these days 103 countries. And I swear to God, I've missed out on so many amazing younger girls, many of whom love travel and love guys who travel, just out of complete abject stupidity. I repeat, complete abject stupidity. And I'll bet most of you guys who have much going for you, when you come across a beautiful girl, or especially a younger girl, you're just like, oh, I did this, I've got this car. It's just terrible. So just a concrete tip that you can actually take away. So yeah, one of my big sins when I'm out of the game a bit, or maybe I've got to really impress this girl. I still do it too. I'm not that promiscuous. Is I'll start talking about how much I've traveled, because that's the thing I'm number one most passionate about in life. Helping people is second. Travel is number one. So yeah. So instead of saying, I retired from finance young and I traveled to 103 countries over 7 years full time, which I might have done once or twice when I'm not as confident as I should be. Not that often, I wouldn't do it that bad, but I may have. Instead of saying that, I go, travel is my favorite thing on earth. I'm such an addict. My favorite city was New York, and my favorite country by far and away was India. Tell me the best place you traveled to. Or if she's really young, this is some killer tips here. So much younger girl, tell me where you most dream of traveling, because you don't want to make a younger girl feel a little bit insecure about driving me to 103 countries like me, or having not been to 10. Okay, this is so much of what we do, and so much what Tess does on the Zoom calls is teach you about female psychology, particularly younger woman psychology. If you make out that, you've had an executive career, or you've got this big mansion, or you've traveled a lot, or you're, really accomplished at jiu-jitsu or basketball, you used to be a professional athlete, or anything impressive about you, if you start leading with that, particularly the career financial stuff, which nearly all of you guys do, if you start doing that and the girl genuinely likes you, this is what goes through a woman's mind. Oh, I'm like, whatever, I'm 20 years younger than this guy, or more, if you guys are in 56s already, potentially. I'm just a walking vagina to him. How can I ever make this guy happy? He's done so much. I went to university. I did a tour around Europe, and I've been to whatever, Mexico or Bali once or twice, like the average younger girl who doesn't come from wealth. So, So yeah, it's such an important lesson. So many of you impressive guys, just you think you're trying to impress her and build value as a pickup artist, teach you. You're just scaring the girl off. So please stop doing that. Again, I'm an expert at screwing this up. That's why I'm getting so excited about it. One hot girl I didn't get to take to the sack, which was really frustrating at the time because I really liked her and she really liked me. I must have dropped in my whatever I was at then, 70 countries line, and we ended up becoming friends. And she got into a serious relationship and whatever. If I could have broken through, I didn't feel it was morally right to, given whatever skills I've got with women, that whatever the universe or God or Allah, whoever you believe, gave me. Or Shiva. So yeah, she shared with me later on, oh, when you say you've traveled so much, I don't know if I believe you because I had traveled a lot, but yeah, I love travel nearly as much as you, but you know, I'm 20 years younger than you. So I'm thinking, oh, if I date James, there's nowhere left he will want to go with me because he's been everywhere. So that was a big obstacle in her mind. I'm sure I screwed a bunch of other stuff up, but that was really good feedback. Okay, homework. Oh, okay, you got to be clear about this. You wealthy guys, you successful guys, you are a fucking train wreck at this. I'm so often sitting in a cafe or listening, and it's clearly a guy on a first or second date. And it's like, oh, yeah, I got made an executive at 32, and they took me to the C-suite in the corner office, and I upgraded me 3 series to a 5 series. And just some of you are just so full of nonsense. Even if you don't do it as overtly or stupidly as I'm satirizing, it's such a problem for so many of you successful guys. Hot young girl likes you, possibly because she knows a bit about your status or because you're just confident because of your status, maybe not in the dating situation, and you just do too much and screw it up. And a girl who would have really liked to date you and potentially go to bed with you, she just pulls the pin because she doesn't feel worthy of you and she thinks you just want her for the warm, wet thing between her legs. Homework. So if you're an interesting guy or you're a successful guy, stop and think about it. I shared my big mistake with you to shine a mirror back on you. What are you talking about too much, relying on to build attraction, when you should just be, as Tess and I teach, asking good questions, listening, building connection, and then escalating like a pro, which is a big part of what we do at Social Coach. So, yeah, I know so many of the dating coaches will tell you to demonstrate value and build attraction and all this stuff. Particularly if you're quite high value, okay, already, we don't want you to do that. We want you to be very confident. We want you to approach confidently. We want you to start very skillfully using touch, eye contact, body language, body positioning, vocal tonality to get the girl attracted to you. And then what we want you to do is don't tell her about your job or how successful you are or your last fancy holiday or your last girlfriend was a model, which I fall for as well myself. It's discover the girl with open questions and touch and escalate really competently. Tess, I might get you to add to older guys showing off. I'm sure you've got a gazillion examples, particularly from your modeling days. And I'm sure you do now as well. But yeah, just share it with me, and I've got another example of me completely screwing up a sure thing. Tess?
Yeah. So I completely agree. You can, definitely make a guy, make the girl feel insecure and kind of, depending on her age, but also level of self-esteem. Like she might feel like, oh shit, I'm not worthy. Like I'm just gonna run away. But it can also kind of go the other way as well. It can make you seem a little bit egotistical or superficial also just insecure. It's like she'll start to question, like, why is this guy having to sell like all of these things he's done or whatever? Like it's it comes a bit like it comes across a bit like try hard. So if she can tell, especially if she's a really beautiful, high value, attractive woman, if you're coming across too strongly with all these superficial things that you've done or things that you own or how much money you have or blah blah blah. It just kind of makes it feel like an interaction. I don't know. It just makes it feel cheapened. It makes it feel like you're trying to buy her or that you feel the need to display all of these things because it's not just obvious in the way you're interacting. So that's exactly what we're trying to teach. We're make it come across in subtle body language and non-verbal communication that you are an attractive, well sought after guy who who has choices when it comes to women, because that is the most attractive thing to women. It's not about your achievements and what you own or what you've done in your life. So don't feel the need to be overtly saying that to the woman straight away.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tess. Oh, I forgot to tell you my story. Okay. This is a good one for you guys to learn from. I do yoga, and at my main yoga studio, the one where I never ever slept with a girl in 20 years, versus several others where I slept with a lot of girls, because I try to keep a home ground safe from girls staring at me and getting shitty with me while I'm in the crow pose. Not fun. One of the teachers there, she was about to head back to Canada. She'd taught here for a while, and she had to go home, and she was leaving the studio. And in Parks, I had 2 by girlfriends at the time, and was a wee bit promiscuous as well. I mean, she was very, very interested in me. And she was actually 27, but she looked about 19 with an insane body. So anyway, 2 weeks before her last class, the other reason I didn't bother with her is because I think she liked me. I basically paid whatever it was at the time, $20, $25, but I literally got half a private training class because some of the other girls sort of told her off for being obsessed with me. When you've got it's like when you've got a girlfriend, other girls are interested in you. When you've got 2 girlfriends or lots, every girl's interested in you. I don't know. It's something to do with, the way the universe is designed, Darwinian pre-selection. Anyway, she was very interested in me. And I intentionally just, no, I don't want to do this, more for the sanctity of my yoga studio. Anyway, she's leaving 2 weeks ago, so I asked her out because I wouldn't mind slipping on one, to put it mildly. I meet her. I took her to my standard date plan, which is one of the most important things you need to do to get better with women. And so I got there early to get one of the only couches at my favorite bookstore cafe. And when I was literally, I didn't do this as a way to show off or demonstrate value, as the pickup artists or some other dating coaches say. I literally was just amusing myself for an hour when I was guarding my secret couch to turn this date into sex. So she arrives. She looks wonderful. I'd never seen her dressed up before. I'd never seen her in like little shorts and tight tops. But she'd gone to so much trouble. I could tell by her makeup and her earrings and just the way she'd presented herself. And she was beautiful. Anyway, she gets there, and I've got an 850-page book, The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, one of the books that really moved my life forward in a big way. I was reading that, and she looks at the book, and I literally had the old one I imported from the States, this huge hardcover that you could probably knock someone out with. It was probably well over a kilo. And she looks at the book, and she looks at me, and she's like, what are you reading? I said, I started telling her passionately about this great book I was reading. And she wasn't a reader. She was let's play sport. Let's go camping. Let's go surfing. Let's maybe go to some music festivals. She wasn't a sit and read an 800-page book type of gal. Now, she really liked me. And I think she, didn't really sort of feel herself attracted to some nerdy guy who likes to read 800-page books. And I think she also felt quite intimidated that she was a yoga teacher, and I probably already told her I was ex-finance. I can't remember if I did, but anyway. So the date continued, but it sort of went shupum from the moment I talked about the book. And despite the fact I was convinced she was really keen on me. And the way she dressed up, I mean, she definitely wanted to sleep with me. I think that book was one of the things, possibly 80-90% of the reason in the discussion around the book, why, you know, I didn't get to have that beautiful girl in my bed, which I just blew something close to a sure thing. There's never a sure thing with women, but this was approaching it. So yeah, again, I'm sharing this with you for the homework. What are you telling girls, particularly if you're quite a successful guy or quite an I mean, Ayn Rand, who I'm talking about, she's got this immortal line: the only worse than a man flaunting his money to try to get into girls' pants is him flaunting his IQ. I don't think Ayn Rand said to get into girls' pants. That's my paraphrasing. So yeah, what homework, what are you doing that is you think's making you more attractive, that's possibly putting girls off? Maybe you overdo it, like I certainly overdid the travel. Cool. We might just on that point move over to point number 3. Talk to ugly younger women too. Talk to ugly younger women too. Sorry for any women watching. It's good for any women watching. Some of my super confident, suave, rich, tall, handsome clients will start talking to girls not that attractive. Okay. 2 legs, no balls. 2 legs, no balls. If you ever decide to do a boot camp with Tess and I, on the first day, you're going to hear me say that more than just about anything except open-ended questions and maybe touch. 2 legs, no balls, because I get guys who, you know, maybe haven't approached women in their life or haven't approached for years, and they're really nervous. And if you listen to the pickup artists, who I can't stand, some new pickup company starts in Sydney, or, you know, this happened in New York and LA too. And the guys all go out to bars together, and then they go in a group of 6, and they're all weird, not all of them, a lot of them. And then they do what's called a wagon wheel, where they start in the bar and then they go over there, over there, over there. And it's called a wagon wheel because they stand, they gossip, they look at all the girls, they walk over and talk to one of the most attractive girls, one of them. Then they all stand and watch each other. Then they come back and go, women are bitches, she rejected me, I used the wrong line, blah, blah, I should have nagged her. And then eventually another girl will come and one of them sums up the courage to go meet her, and then he goes and does it, and then the same sort of thing happens. So yeah, the mistake these guys are making, there's many. They think women can't read signals or see what they're doing. They think women are stupid when women are really smart at this. But the biggest mistake they're making is they're only talking to the attractive girls, which is really, really stupid unless your name is Leonardo DiCaprio. Leo, if you've tuned in tonight, this point doesn't apply to you. So what you want to do is you don't start by talking to the most attractive younger women. You talk to the fat ones, you talk to the ugly ones, you talk to, you know, whatever, the ones you're just not really attracted to, because you want to get desensitized to talking to younger women without projecting sexual intent. And if you can do that, that might be one of the best things you've ever done. Just to give you a practical example of that, about 3 or 4 boot camps ago, I could have lost the boot camp. I walked into a upmarket bar on a Friday after work that I've used 50, 60 times, that usually rocks. And for some reason, it was just dead. And there was a few people there, but there was only one, you know, socially acceptable approach. And that was tough because I was standing at the bar waiting to get drinks. And the rest of it was just gone. And there weren't many girls at the time. So I managed, and I was very proud of myself. I walk in with like whatever it was, 8 students or something. Tess might have had 7 with her. And yeah, it was just a nightmare. It's like, what am I going to do? And they're like, ugh. When I start getting pretty major approach anxiety, I know there's a problem. So eventually I talked to 2 Asian girls who they were so boring. They claimed they didn't understand English. I didn't want to talk to them. Then I left that. That gave me a bit of energy. And I went and did another one. I just started jumping out, going, hey, how you doing? I'm James. Come meet my great clients. This guy's an engineer. And I managed to get some energy like that. The reason I'm telling you this is if I hadn't before I went in the boot camp, walked down the street just saying hello to everyone. You're talking to whoever, old men, young men, fat girls, dogs, whoever I could talk to. If I'd done that activity at the start of the boot camp, I would have probably humiliated myself in front of a guy who flew from New York, a guy who flew from LA. What's that? New York's like 28 hours. A guy who flew from South Africa. But I had to warm up. So yeah, you have to warm up. I'm supposedly a professional at this. So if I have to warm up, you have to warm up. So to warm up to getting desensitized a bit to beautiful women, don't just talk to the attractive ones. And again, start by asking good open-ended questions with women you're not attracted to. That's your homework. Talk to younger women you're not that attracted to, and just try to build a good conversation with them. Tess, do you want to add anything to guys just only ever talking to the attractive girls? Before we do that, a lot of people say I should make a course on health because I've barely got a wrinkle and I've got most of my hair is all dark. And yeah, I can kind of keep that little thing up for 5 hours. At least I did when I was in my early 50s. I could still do 3 with a girl I really liked, let alone 2. One of the reasons I do this is because my current snack is steamed broccoli and Atlantic dulse with sea salt. And if you want to look like me, I highly recommend it. I'm not getting any commissions for this. But yeah, heavy detox and so much vitamin C and all the vitamins and minerals. So this is what I'm eating because I put so much time and effort into trying to change your guys' lives. I'm really hungry. So anyway, excuse me eating while Tess gives her point of view about talk to ugly women as well as the pretty ones. You might want to talk about how sometimes you'll leave one of your less attractive friends with a guy who comes up to you just to see if he's an asshole or a nice guy. Go for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's definitely a test that women will do. They'll leave you both with their attractive friends and their not as attractive friends to see, you know, are you going to be a good guy? Are you going to, are you going to engage with them or like what your intentions are, etc. If it's a really attractive friends, how you respond to them as well. Like, are they gonna start giving them more attention? So yeah, women will do these types of tests. But this is going back to what we were talking about. I mentioned this earlier as well. When James gave his first piece of homework, which was to talk to everyone. Don't be a wimp. Just talk to everyone. Practice that skill. I mentioned this earlier. So speaking to people who you're not attracted to, that might be other men, it might be your work colleagues, it might be or just people who are serving you at a cafe or at a bar or something, and just initiating, asking them an open-ended question, just having a little bit of a chat, and this might even be if you're like sharing a lift with someone, you might have 30 seconds to just ask one quick question. The more you do that, the easier it is when it comes to initiating with women who you are intimidated by. And the thing is, if you're only doing this with women you're attracted to, you're wasting so many opportunities because you're probably going to make a lot of mistakes early on. So you want to be making the mistakes when you're not intimidated, and you've got to build up that skill to get to the point where, okay, now I'm going to be trying to initiate with women who I am attracted to, potentially intimidated by. But the thing is as well, if you're out at a venue, let's say you're out at a bar, and you're only speaking to attractive women, it can make you seem a bit like superficial or like a bit of a creep. And women can see what's going on, especially if they're the women who want to be approached, and they're consciously like looking around the room and seeing what the opportunities are, who else is around, because they're wanting to meet people, and they see that you're just kind of like preying on like hot young women. They'll be like, oh, that's a bit creepy. But if you're just like talking to people in general and being really friendly and personable and just having a chat with people, you actually seem more like a genuine nice guy who's just outgoing and confident, not like a creep. So a few different points there for just practicing with lots of different people. It's about building the skill and also not coming across like a creep. So James is still munching on some broccoli.
I'm munching on some broccoli.
But I was going to say hi to some of the guys who've joined us.
That's a great idea.
Cool. Yeah. So hey guys, we've got Martin, we've got Kenneth. Welcome, Kenneth. Good to have you here. Ivan, Landon, James, Patrick. A lot of familiar names here. If you guys are new here as well, say hi in the chat. We're going to be, once we've gone through a few of our points, we're going to be going through your questions and comments. So we're here to answer any questions you've got. So if you're new, say hi, put your questions in the chat. We're here to serve you. We've got Jeff as well. Hi, Jeff. Welcome, guys. I can see there have already been a few questions and comments coming through. So we'll get to those in a little bit.
Fantastic. I think what's the time? I think we promised that we would sorry. Okay, Tess, could you do it the sexy way? That way, yeah. Are you worried about growing old and grey and being all alone? That's a huge fear for so many people. He's just screwing up the tech as usual. What a dope. It's not working for me. Are you worried about getting old and grey and being all alone in your 50s and 60s and 40s? Or worse, settling for an okay woman and she goes all toxic on you? Maybe you've been out of dating for quite a while. Maybe you've been single, maybe you've been married and your confidence is way down. Possibly you're sick to death of apps and bars. Everything we hear, apps just basically don't work anymore, except to sleep with a bunch of girls you probably don't want to even be with. Maybe you've got pretty bad approach anxiety. You're scared of rejection, particularly with younger girls. And one of the biggest things we deal with, business owners, professionals, whatever, you're a busy guy. You want to get like high yield results with women. You want to radically change your life with women in the quickest possible time. So if any of that applies to you, we're about to give you a word from our sponsor. And our sponsor tonight is Social Coach. The lovely Tess, she's sponsoring it, sort of. So yeah, the way we help guys, we still do our live events, which are life-changing. One of the guys on here is coming to see us from Glasgow, and he'll give me some wee tips about me Glasgow accent. Lovely guy. I can't wait to onboard him. He's a good boxer by the sounds of it. So yeah, we take you on a dating diagnostic with Tess, dating analysis. So the goal of this is to identify and eliminate mistakes that have been holding you back with women your whole life, help you beat 95, maybe 98% of guys at approaching and dates. And most importantly of all, take these mistakes you're making and turn them into a written plan. But if you can just execute on one or two of them, your life will change quite dramatically. Now, watching these, I've looked all over YouTube and trying to figure out who's good at doing YouTube and who's potentially good at dating coach. To put it mildly, we're really proud about what we're doing here and the feedback we're getting. But if you want the highest yield 45 minutes you'll ever have in your entire dating life, book a date with Tess. So yeah, we were charging we still do charge $1,495 for these. That kept Social Coach going through COVID. So thanks for you guys who booked it then. And yeah, Tess is just one of a whole bunch of really attractive girls, nearly all of the models who go on these dates with our clients, both over Zoom and in person. Yeah, as you can see, some of the girls there, they're not too shabby. I should say, these girls are all 10 or 12 years older than most of the photos. So I think we got professional photographers at one of the events when the girls went to a bit of trouble. So yeah, that's roughly what we've been doing for the last 20 years. Gives you an idea. Yeah, so you actually get to do everything you could possibly need to succeed with women, up to the point of sticking your tongue down their throat with a woman you'd probably find intimidatingly attractive. You can see there anyway. So yeah, the process, we want to go through your history with women. We want to know what your goals are. We want to know what your sticking points are. If you do work with us, where do you want us to get you to in 3 months? We do the date role play. We do an approach role play. And then Tess will give you personalized expert help to help you radically improve your life with women just by implementing one or two of the things she gives you. We'll answer any questions you have about dating, and then we'll give you a written step-by-step plan, usually within 24 hours, depending how busy Tess is. So it's a one-on-one dating diagnostic with Tess, usually $1,495. Tomorrow, Tess isn't the only one who does this. Natalia is amazing at it as well. She's a Russian model. Tess is, believe it or not, an Australian model. So yeah, we can now change your life on Zoom, and it's not $1,495, it's just $1. And yeah, if you're watching the replay and I'm not a dill, there should be a link in the description, and there should be a link pinned in the first comment. So just click that and select a time, and we'll see you soon. So yeah, we've got an Aussie boot camp on the 8th to 10th. We've got an Aussie, we've got a US date coming up. We're getting quite a few signups from the greatest country in the world. And yeah, any skepticism, it is just so absurdly, so ridiculously easy to beat the average American, Australian, Canadian in today's world. It's stupid. So yeah, that's what we do. So yeah, just click on the link if you're interested, and you must pass her test. This is a huge one. This is catastrophically huge, and possibly the #1 reason for whatever success I've had. I'm kind of geek out on female psychology and that sort of thing. So yeah, I've lost count. I've literally lost count of the number of times I've been on a first date or a second date with a woman who's clearly a lot younger than me. I tend to go by the divide 2, add 7. Most of my relationships start off after dividing 2 and adding 7. So hypothetically, if you're 40, 22. If you're 50, 32. That gives you a rough idea. If you're 60, well, there'd be 37. So I believe that's a good age for a fairly intelligent older man and a fairly intelligent younger woman to start seriously dating, because we mature at such different paces in life. I'm still far too immature for women anywhere near my age. And anyway, so yeah, that's my personal belief. You don't need to share that. Many of my clients just want to date a girl 5 or 10 or 15 years younger. You don't just need to go to my extent. But I've got a lot of energy. So yeah, passing tests. So yeah, I get on this first or second date with a girl, and because I know how to read signals, I'll get back to her place. I know she's super keen on me. She's way keener on me than I am on her. And then she'll say something like this. Listen, James, you're super interesting. You're such an interesting guy. I love hanging out with you. I've learned so much being around you. But yeah, I'm just not attracted to you in that way. Because yeah, you're a lot older than me. I mean, no offense, you're almost as old as my dad. And then they'll shut up. And what do most guys do then? Oh, but we had such a great connection, or, you know, age is just a number. They'll come up with some nonsensical, stupid thing to do. And this dope has just knocked his notes out. So bear with me while Mr. Tech Fool fixes things up. I put a lot of time and effort into this. So yeah, that's basically what happens. That they'll test me, and she's telling me she's too old to see me. And yeah, just a bit of a tip about younger women. I'm not saying all of them, but a percentage of the younger women I've dated and slept with, potentially the #1 reason they did it is they wanted to annoy their father. How am I going to piss dad off? He's nearly his age. If I piss him off, and if I sleep with this guy and take him home, and I've had girls who slept with me in their parents' house and screamed louder than any woman's ever screamed having orgasms before. And in one case, the dad was 6'3" and 300 pounds, and the brother was a 6'7" professional athlete. And yeah, she screamed extra loud just to let her parents know she was sleeping with a guy as old as her mum. Anyway, a bit of a side note, but yeah, a lot of women will sleep with older guys just to get back at their daddy. So and that's not the reason to do it, but it's just a little bit of a female psychology snippet. Yeah, and after convincingly saying there was no way in hell she'd ever sleep with me because of the age difference, you know, half an hour later or an hour later or 2 hours later, I'm inside her. For some of you guys, it might be the next date. But yeah, it's just, this is a woman's test. It's like, oh, you're such an interesting guy. I love spending time with you. But yeah, I just don't see you that way. Let's just be friends. So I'm not saying this is a test every single time, not for 1 second, particularly if she did like you and then you screwed up and then she wants a reason to sort of reject you without saying, you screwed up badly, I'm not attracted to you anymore. She would just blame the age. Just like you might walk up to a girl, talk to her, ask her out. She goes, oh, sorry, no, I've got a boyfriend, when she doesn't have a boyfriend. Yeah, I mean, many of you guys watching are at a savage disadvantage because you're not very good at reading signals. That's literally the third thing we teach guys after conversation style, reading signals, and then probably date plan. So yeah, so if you want to date younger women, particularly if they're quite a bit younger than you, if you're sort of 50 and you date a 40-year-old, it might not be that big a deal. Or if you're 60 and you date a 45-year-old, it might not be that big a deal. But if you want to start going larger age gaps, you're really going to get pummeled with women's tests. And yeah, the reason is because younger women, they're generally only attracted to older guys who are good with women, who understand female psychology, who understand women's emotions, who understand all their games and tricks, and know what they're doing. No, you know what you're doing in the bedroom. Part of the reason, which I'll cover in a bit, one of the big attractions of older men is because they've actually had relationship experience. And when you are with younger women, so often that's what they're testing for, to see how much actual relationship experience. Will you be different from the hot, blue-eyed, guy their own age who are dating with insane abs who was a bit immature for them, and they're trying to actually get a slightly more mature guy. So yeah, listen, I find you so interesting, but I'm just not sleeping with you. This happens all the time. Tess, did you want to add anything? Before we get onto that, I might give you another good example. Homework on women's tests. There's a movie called Vicky Cristina Barcelona. Write that one down. It's famous because of a very famous approaching scene that is probably the only unrealistic depiction of female psychology in the entire movie. The fact that a guy who's that good with women would go in with such a sort of sleazy opener, you got lovely lips, or what color are your eyes? And I honestly think the screenwriter either did that or was encouraged to do that just to get a really good trailer to make money for the movie. Anyway, the screenwriter of that movie, I believe, is one of the great artistic geniuses of this century, who probably understands beautiful women better than any dating coach I've ever come across, including this one. Yeah, many of you have seen Vicky Cristina Barcelona, particularly if you're trying to get better with women. But if you have, watch it again. Not for the silly approaching scene, but for all the high pressure situations he's in with women, like when he goes back to the girl's apartment, or when the girl figures out, he brushes her foot accidentally, and just study it. Most of you won't see, but some of you will see little bits about what this guy's doing and what a genius he is with women, which is why he gets all these threesomes with 3 different girls. The screenplay was written to a guy who has the skills to literally get that. Yeah, just to give you an idea how important this movie is to me and Social Coach, one of my advanced events, we've got a lot to do working with the trainers and drills about how to dump girls clearly and how to do women's tests. You get to practice that with Tess and Val and Natalia, etc. But just to give you a break from all the pressure, we literally watch Vicky Cristina Barcelona together, and I break the movie down in extreme detail for you. So yeah, homework, watch Vicky Cristina Barcelona. If you've seen it, watch it again, study it from a woman's test, female psychology perspective. Tess, did you want to add anything to how younger women are very, very likely to test men?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's, they want to know that you're actually the kind of guy they're looking for. So this is why women test. And a lot of you guys, you're like, oh, well, if a woman's testing me, then, F her. Like, I don't want to bother with her. But it's actually a really important thing for women to do. And if she's testing you, it actually means that she is showing interest, which is a really, really good thing. So don't get scared by the tests. Just know that, yeah, all women are going to be doing this because we have boxes that we need ticked, you know. And so when younger women are attracted to older guys, you enjoy your broccoli there, James, for a bit. Yeah, they're going to be testing, like, is this guy, you know, is he actually as confident with women as he seems? Like, does he have the experience that I'm looking for? Does he have the emotional maturity that I'm looking for in a, you know, that's what I'm expecting from an older guy. Does he have the purpose and direction that I'm looking for in a partner, you know, that a lot of younger guys don't have? So all of this stuff, they're definitely going to be testing for. You know, they might assume that stuff because you're older, and generally that's, older guys do have a lot of those things. Those are a lot of the big advantages you have over younger guys. But she's definitely going to test those things as well. So it's really important that you pass those tests. You know, just you know, the percentage of women that are after older guys just because they like the look, the look of older guys, that's probably a low percentage of women. It's the whole package. It's the whole package. So we are going to be testing for the whole package. Yeah. Oh, James is muted.
James and tech mistakes. I'm trying so hard to give you guys the most amazing masterclass for free on YouTube. I didn't have time to eat properly. And if you've ever seen pictures of me in a t-shirt, I need to eat. Otherwise, I might not be here soon. Okie dokie. So, yeah, just to ram this home, I met a girl in Israel who was a hard ass, who I think she was a sniper. She may have killed people when I was in Israel. Very, very sexy. I met her at a bar, and anyway, I was traveling, so I tried to expedite things quickly. I think she was cool about it. But yeah, I got her back to her place on the second day. Oh, the first date, I think. Yeah, it was the first date. It was a while ago. I can't remember for sure, but I think it was the first date. And yeah, as soon as I get back there and we sit out the back, I think the first time I touched her, she goes, "There's no way known I'm sleeping with you tonight." And then she referenced the fact I was a bit older than her. Again, I'd already had my fair share by then. I went, "Oh, okay. Oh, it's a shame. I really find you so interesting." And then just continued the conversation. And without a word of a lie, I was in her bedroom minutes later. And yeah, it was quite an experience because she's in an apartment. And she had these massive windows in her room, like massive windows. And there was, I don't know, 40 apartments that could sit in there. And I sort of started on top quite quickly. She got on top, and then she was sort of dancing on top of me. Lots of fun. And then I sort of come to and I look over and I go, I could probably see like 20 windows out her window. And I said, are you okay with the windows open? With the curtains open? She's like, "Oh, yeah. Does it bother you? I can close them if you really want me to." While I'm inside, I go, "No, I'm good. I can deal with this." This is before cell phones with 8 times Zoom and stuff. So yeah, anyway, she said she's just no way she's sleeping with me tonight. Another example was a girl who really changed my life. I met her on a bar in front of 5 other dating coaches and 7 other clients, and she was a fly around the world model for Elite. And that's the reason I got to get a start as a dating coach, because I met this girl and I ended up living with her in a model house. But yeah, we met, and then we had our first date, and it was a very simple one. I just met her at the YHA Backpackers. After her last 3 guys picked her up in 2 Ferraris, 1 Lamborghini, and took her to the most expensive restaurant in her city at the time. And anyway, so that happened. And then the end of the first day, I start sort of whatever. I wasn't trying to sleep with her, but I was taking her hand and sort of cleverly escalating. Then she just pulled my hand away, even though she'd been holding my hand the night we met for a long time. Anything I did to sort of escalate and said, "Oh, can I come out and live near you?" She didn't want that. So, listen, you're way older than me. You're a traveler. I met you in a bar. There's no way known I'm going to sleep with you for a week, probably a month. Just I hope you really understand that. And I'm like, and inside I was going, I'm not hanging around for a month for you, honey. I got girls like you in another city. But yeah, on the outside, because I was quite promiscuous at the time, I maintained a calm demeanor. I just went, oh, yeah, that's a shame. You're one of the most interesting women I've met in years, and gave her a big compliment. Anyway, what happened? The second date, I got me ending. And I kept getting me in over and over and over and over again. So anyway, that's what we're talking about with women's tests. If you want to date younger women, probably the number one skill you need to do that is to be able to understand their psychology and pass their tests. Tess, you might get onto some of the questions we got from guys. We've been disrespecting them a little bit.
No worries. Just wanted to say welcome to some of our new people. We've got someone tuning in from Liverpool, UK. Welcome. A couple more questions from Almost 007. Simply Learn. Hi, I think you're new here too. Welcome. Yes, you may ask as many questions as you like, and we'll get to those now. Kenneth Landon, awesome. So I'll start from the beginning, so we make sure we get
I might just say something to begin with, Tess.
Sure.
I think we might have stretched it to 7 points. If you could give me feedback in the chat, if I say there's going to be 5, and then while I'm preparing it in detail, I go, oh, but we've really got to tell them that. Otherwise, they really need to know that too. If that pisses any of you off, just tell me in the comments below. If our regulars couldn't care less, I just want to know, because I want to do what I say I'm going to do in every situation I realistically can. So if I promise 5 and I give you 7, is that annoying any of you? We're really good dating coaches, but we're really crap at YouTube. As you can tell by my background, I couldn't have fucked this up even more if I tried. I thought I had a good one, but it was a disaster for reasons I won't go into now. So really crap at YouTube, really good at changing your life. So give us some feedback. Does it bother you if I promise 5 things and end up giving you 7? So let's get back to the questions. By the way, we'll do questions for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll get back on to the next point. For any of you who are a bit ADHD and you want to get the next point, the next point. But yeah, when I watch the little graphy waffy of YouTube, the things that not always, but nearly always get the most people going back watching it 2 or 3 times is when I tell a story or Tess tells a story, or when we ask one of these questions, answer one of these questions. So yeah, this is the most popular stuff. It's not sort of the 5 or 7 points we give you. Okay, Tess, let's get into questions. I'll find any excuse I can to get stuck into my broccoli.
So a question from Martin. Why does flirting early beat being respectful every time?
Oh, I have to qualify that question. You've always got to be respectful. This is where reading signals comes in handy. Yeah, you want to read the situation before you start flirting. The other thing about flirting is I coach a lot of very intelligent men, men who are very logical and very rational, and they think quite linearly and quite logically. Now, as a group of people, not all of them, but many of these guys aren't that great at flirting, and we try to teach them, and they're a bit slow at learning how to flirt, So I personally have, I suppose, a very, very intense personality. I don't know if that comes across that much on YouTube. It certainly does when you interact with me. It certainly does when I try to get my way with girls or approach girls. So I don't really flirt much. I mean, I do with girlfriends, but I don't, prior to good sex. So I don't think flirting is for everyone. Some people, Russell Brand being the go-to example, are fantastic at it, like unbelievable. But a lot of really smart analytical guys probably want to be careful flirting, because it's probably not the best strategy for you, if that makes sense. So why does flirting being respectful every time? Provided you can read the signals. Can I exchange the word flirting for make it sexual? Now, this is where these questions are so valuable for anyone who wants to get to the next point. You've always got to make it sexual, but there's very subtle ways you can do that. You can leave bigger pauses. You can hold good eye contact and then hold better and better eye contact. And then if that goes well, you can start to drop your eyes down to her lips once she's really engaged. I do these tricks all the time. So it might not be what you consider flirting, but it's making it sexual, and I think in a much more sophisticated way. So yeah, why does making things sexual in a very respectful way being respectful every time? Because yeah, as Tess has probably pointed out in other YouTube lives, so many Tess, do you mind moving the camera slightly so that or you're doing my trick? You've been hanging out with me too much.
I've sorry, I was also posture. Getting into this. I really like this question, and I was loving your answer as well. So I was kind of like leaning in because I was getting getting invested. But yeah, I love
that. Was smooth. That was really freaking smooth, because I'm usually the one who's huddled over with my bad posture. She's done such a good job of the background compared to me. This looks like a mug shot. Or the Trump mug shot. I don't know how good a Donald Trump impersonator I am. I can do a really good job of the pathetic little girl hands. I've got the Trumpy pathetic little girl hands. I think mine are even worse than his. So yeah, you've got to let girls know that you want to fuck them, and you've got to. And what Social Coach does is we teach you how to do that in the most respectful way possible, which I think a lot of other people on YouTube don't teach you. They either give you corny, weird ways, or they give you potential ways that could lead you into a bit of trouble in 2026. Tess, do you want to add to flirting? And I'm going to grab a slice of broccoli before I whittle away into nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it really depends on what you define as flirting, because for different people that means different things. But what James said was absolutely, like, he hit the nail on the head. It's like flirting, we teach you subtle ways of flirting, like what James said, eye contact, using pauses like to build sexual tension, subtle touching, that sort of thing, and building connection at the same time. So it comes across as sexual, like it's not platonic, but it's not flirting in the sense that it's like cheesy pickup lines or trying to make jokes and be overly humorous or playful or like negging and or doing anything that's cheesy, right? It's just it's classy, it's subtle, it's about connecting with the woman, but also showing this isn't platonic, the subtlety to it is so powerful as well, because the woman will be like picking up on these little things, but it's almost subconscious. And rather than you just being really overt about it, where she's like, okay, this guy really likes me, I've got all the power here, like I've whatever, I can do it, I can test him, I can do what I want. It's more like, oh wow, there's a bit of chemistry here, and yeah, I don't know, this guy's like, there's something going on here, and there's a little bit of a mystery and like allure there, which is super powerful, right? And it means that you're the one who has a lot of the power there as well. So that's that's what we teach. But yes, of course, being respectful is very, very important, and you always need to be respectful.
That's awesome. Next question, please, Tess.
Yeah, I really like that question, Martin. So another question here. Go Tess and James. If you act like a gentleman, ask good questions, etc., doesn't that lead to being placed in the friend zone?
Yes, if that's all you do. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I used to make I used to fly around. before I did YouTube, what I did was I spent a bunch of money on Facebook and YouTube ads, and I got a bunch of beautiful girls like Tess, and I flew around Australia and I did seminars, and would pull guys out of the audience and would coach them on stage, which was really good for getting guys to sign up, and so we could change their lives. And what would often happen is a guy would would ask Tess, like, "Oh, so Tess, tell me about your most scary but exciting experience paragliding." Tess is a paraglider. And then the female trainers up the front in front of 50 or 100 people would go, "Ooh," or "Hmm." And I used to joke, you can't do this anymore because of that silly Harvey Weinstein, man. I used to joke, "Oh, you know what that sound means?" When a girl goes, or "ooh," that means she wants to suck your dick. So if there was subtitles on the page, when you ask a good question and the girl goes, "ooh," that means she's thinking about sucking your dick. Now, it might not be in every single case, but in many cases, it's put the thought into her mind. So good open-ended questions are potentially the best way to escalate in the known universe, because so few guys can do them. Whereas, literally in Sunday afternoon on the boot camp, we teach you how to escalate really smoothly in the space of 6 hours, like really smoothly. Obviously, you've got to retain that knowledge, but you'll know exactly what to do when you leave. But the skill of asking good questions, that takes the average guy a lot longer. It's one of the most attractive things, because the beautiful women, the younger women, feel like you're actually trying to get to know them and are getting to know them as a person. I remember Monique, the redhead on the main YouTube page, she basically said, "Oh, I've got a better relationship with so many of my clients than I've known the guy for a weekend. I've got a better relationship with this client I've known for like 40 hours than I do with the guy I've been seeing for a year." And the other thing she said was, "I'd give anything to go on dates in the real world in Sydney or New York." She's in New York. And have guys ask me the questions I get on every boot camp. So yeah, asking good questions is one of the most powerful things you can ever do. It doesn't mean you don't need to be a man and escalate, but we teach you that with touch, eye contact, body language. You don't need to say stupid, corny, sleazy things or banter or call her a bad girl. What was one I saw another famous dating coach do? She goes, no, he goes, the girl goes, "Oh, yeah, you look really attractive in that outfit." And then he goes back and he's cocky funny and he goes, "Oh, yeah, you're probably thinking about taking me to bed." So a girl gives him a sincere compliment on a date and he immediately fires back, "Oh, so you're thinking about taking me to bed," making something sexual. Tess, can you explain how asinine that is, particularly for a very serious, intense guy? If Russell Brand did it, he'd probably make it sing. If the average guy out in YouTube land watching us did that, it's probably going to go bad. And this guy's got like nearly 100 times more followers than me. Yeah.
Sorry, I just got a little bit distracted. What did he say? What did you say you did?
Okay, from memory, it's pretty close to verbatim. The concept is right. "Oh, you look really handsome in that outfit." And then the guy says, "Oh, yeah, you're just thinking about taking me to bed," in a really provocative way. Without vomiting all over the screen, explain why that's really off-putting, particularly for a younger girl.
Yeah, I guess if it was, in a really provocative way, it's just kind of like, no, I wasn't. I don't know. It's just, it makes things awkward, and it makes it, because he's saying it in a sort of provocative way. It's actually showing what his intent is as well. That's what was in his mind, right? So he's just projecting outwardly in, like, not the best way, what he's thinking about, right? And it comes across as really egotistical as well. He's like, "Oh, everyone wants me," So whether or not that's what she was thinking, it's just a bit ick.
And yeah, as I said, there are guys who can pull this off, like Russell Brand. But to teach this to beginners on YouTube, I mean, what the hell are you thinking, man? I mean, yeah, and I can learn a lot from the way this guy does YouTube. But yeah, with women, I don't know what the hell he's teaching beginner guys, many of whom are programmers or accountants or engineers. Anyway, next question, Tess. Yeah, seriously, these questions are some of the best value you'll get from us. Even more so than the points I put so much time and effort into figuring out for you.
Okay, so a question from almost 007. James, if you approach 100 attractive women, how many would you get to date with? And of those to get a date with, how many do you bet?
I love that question simply because I think it's got the wrong basis. And by someone asking that, you can learn so much about social coaching and why whatever success I've had. Now, if I approached 100 women at a nightclub, I'd probably decide she's boring as batshit. She's on cocaine. She's on alcohol. I don't have the energy to talk to her. This is awful. And I might get a date with 3, and I might sleep with 1. I'm just making these numbers up off the top of my head. If I approached a girl in the literature section of Barnes & Noble Union Square, New York, in the late 2000s, Jesus Christ, I'm going to sound like I might have got dates with 30 of them, maybe more. And I'm not even going to say the percentage I'd have taken to bed at that stage in my life, but it would have been substantial. And if I didn't get those metrics, it's because I'd have had so many other girls on the go that I just didn't have time to sleep with anymore or approach anymore. Because I would have never approached 100 women at that location because I was so busy having sex. So this is such a good question. We need a prize for this, almost 007. This is the pickup artist mentality. 2 legs, no balls. I want to fuck her. Not just approach her for a warm-up. This is the way they think. They see a woman who's not ugly and immediately they go sexual. And this is one of the reasons I've had whatever success I've had, and the reason so many of our clients have success I have. Even when I was in my 30s, I only try to escalate with women I legitimately respect as human beings. So it would take me so long to approach 100 attractive women in a scenario where I'm likely to be attracted to them. I'd never do it. I wouldn't have enough time. So by the time I'd approached 20 women in a bookstore, I'd probably have what the new dating coaches call a rotation. I say seeing a bunch of girls at one time. So, but again, if we did this in a nightclub, I mean, I'd just be like, this is too boring. This is too boring. No, I can't be bothered with this. So I can't really answer that question honestly. All I'll say is if I laser focus according to where I'm most likely to get an attractive girl, my numbers will be so high I wouldn't tell you on YouTube. Not now because I'm out of form, but in my sort of from 34 up to maybe 44, especially. In part because I had 2 by girlfriends that whole time and women just throw themselves at me. But yeah, probably going up to 47, 48, maybe even 49. My numbers would have been pretty impressive. They would have probably peaked around 39 or 40. Anyway, I'm talking enough about me. You get the point. That is a great question, but it's an invalid question. It depends who the women are. It depends where you meet them. Again, if I met them who are like proper independent travelers, I don't mean in a hostel. I mean proper independent travelers who weren't just going to New York and going out drinking or going to Bondi Beach and going out drinking and trying to shag guys in the hostel. I mean proper independent travels. If I approached 100 of them, I mean, the numbers would potentially be even higher than bookstores. So I'd be a rock star in places I actually am likely to meet girls I want, whereas in places, I couldn't care for, like shopping centers, chasing some random girl down the street, nightclubs, most bars, except for a very narrow after-work crowd at the right bar. I mean, I wouldn't want to go on a date with any of them. It wouldn't even be, am I capable of it? I wouldn't want to go on a date with any of them. So if I didn't go on a date with them, I probably wouldn't get them into bed. There may have been a couple of models where I intentionally, for my ego, wanted to get them into bed, and I sort of persisted. But again, my close through to date and sex was much lower than if I walked up to a model in a bookstore. And New York bookstores used to be full of models, the best ones, hanging out between castings and jobs, just reading a book while they're waiting to do their casting. Tess, do you want to add to that? Just talk about how if a guy really likes you genuinely, the chances of dates and sex and blowjobs are so much higher than if it's just some dude you met at a bar who seems confident.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, like all of the stuff that James was talking about, you know, James actually uses filtering questions when in conversation, because he's quite specific about the women who he's trying to attract, because it's important to him that they're like-minded, they can connect in certain ways. So, like you said, literature section in bookstores. Or one of his filtering questions that he uses is, so tell me about the last great book you read. And yeah, if she's not passing that test, then that's kind of like, okay, so she's not ticking that box. And yeah, so of course, you know, approaching attractive women in general, if you're kind of at the skill level where you've got the experience like James does, he's able to filter out, and that means that he's not just going to be trying to get into bed with every single woman he meets. He's selective about that. And that actually makes women way more attracted to you if they can tell that you have the ability to be selective and that you are being selective. That's huge. Obviously, you need to build some skill before you get to that level. So, you can't just, you've got to have something to fall back on. You've got to actually be able to prove that you have the ability to be selective by having some skill. Before you just pretend that you do. Okay. I hope that answered the question. James, was that on track with what you asked me?
Yeah, exactly. It's such a good question. It really highlights the insanity of the pickup artist movement, which so many of the most successful people on YouTube, I'm not saying all of them, they're just basically taking the concepts of the early pickup artists, Mystery Method, David D'Angelo, and whatever, RSD, and they're just reteaching it, taking away some of the really nasty misogynistic stuff. So yeah, I do not see a girl and go, I want to sleep with her. If I did, you know, it just doesn't happen. I need to have some actual real interest in her first. And ironically, that's one of the reasons I've had such an easy time, because women know I'm not just interested in what's between their legs. I'm interested in them as a human being, particularly with women who are a lot younger than me and a lot more beautiful than I ever deserve.
Awesome.
Excellent question, man. We need a prize for that. Next question, and we'll get on to the next point.
Yeah, so Martin had a little story, an interaction he's had. Two girls in the street. I said hi the other night, and I had my headphones on. I heard it. I went and got a hot chocolate and came back 5 minutes later. They were pretty cold. I left after a couple of minutes. I was bored. Okay. So you're saying they said hi to you, and then you left and came back, and then they were pretty cold towards you. Yeah. So just to comment on that, I'm not really sure what the question is here, but like if you were bored, that means you chose to leave, so that's great. The reason they might have been pretty cold, it might have just been because they were showing signals, like they initiated by saying hello and then you left, right? And so maybe they're kind of like, oh, well, what the hell? And they're a bit pissed off by that. I'm not really sure what else. James, did you want to add to that?
No, that's pretty good, Tess. We'll do one more question and we'll get back to the next point.
Okay, let's see. Let's have another question. Okay, a question from Simply Learn. Welcome. First of all, you both have a beautiful smile and positive aura. Thank you. You sound like a positive guy too. And I want to know what I want to know is I'm into books more than anything else. So can you both please suggest some classic books to understand her psychology?
If you start by if he can just tell me some of his favorite novels, I'll give him then. I don't want to go suggesting stuff that's going to completely bamboozle him. So I want to pitch it at the level he's at. So if you could just ask me that, well, I'll give you an answer later on.
Cool.
I've done this with my clients, and some of them read it and they go, I didn't make it, including really smart guys. They don't make it through the first 90 pages because it's too heavy for them or whatever. A lot of great literature, you sometimes need to sort of stick with it through 50 pages, 100 pages, maybe even 200 pages, and then it sort of all comes together, including some of the ones that are about the psychology of women. Next question.
Yeah. So Martin was saying here, window closed. Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. The window opened and it closed. Okay. So, question from almost 007. I've always heard that if someone ghosts or flakes, the ball is in their court. Since you recommend reaching out after a week, don't you think the onus should be on them to message first?
Dude, I love your questions. I love your questions. Tell me where you're from, what you do for work. I'm really interested. You've got great questions. No, because a lot of the times, particularly if the girl's younger, the reason she ghosts or flakes is a woman's test. She wants to see if you're one of those two guys out of 100 who realizes, oh, she's hot. I approached her. Maybe I was very confident. Maybe I had some status in the situation. And she's just screwing me around a bit to see if I have the brains to follow through and ask her out again. Yeah, I mean, Valeria, my Russian trainer, you can see on the YouTube channel, the blonde one, she will intentionally, if a guy texts, she'll just ignore, even if she really likes him, she'll wait till he texts back, as long as it's a decent time gap, and she'll just ignore the guys who don't text her twice, because she wants to know that they get it. And in her case, she probably wants to know they're pretty keen on her. So yeah, women play all these games with men. You can get shitty about it and you complain about it. You can go all red pill and call them bitches and whatever you want. But they do. They always have. They always will. Even the unattractive ones are like, why is this guy with me? I'm not very attractive. I'm gonna have to test him to see why he's really with me. It's just part of the deal. Tess, do you want to add to that?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, women ghost or flake for lots of different reasons. And yeah, part of that can be a test. Part of it could be because she had, yeah, a legitimate reason that she had to flake. You know, yeah, those reasons can range from just being, you know, not feeling well or not feeling attractive or not feeling energetic, or to, oh, I'm actually not sure how much I like this guy. So yeah, the test also just comes as in the observation of how you handle that, right? So if you're but regardless, if it's been a week and she hasn't messaged you, then at that stage, if you don't reach out, it's potentially cold. It's gone cold, right? So you've also just got to reach out to see if there's still potential there as well. It's just like a follow-up as well. But if you handle it in a way that's really casual and cool and just like, hey, yeah, so whatever, then yeah, you're also passing a test to show that I'm a confident guy. I'm not phased. I also, doesn't matter if you flaked, because I've also got important things to be doing in my life, lots of things to choose from. So I just did one of those things, and yeah, I'm here. So yeah, I hope that helps.
That's great. Yeah. Don't watch it now, watch the rest of this, but there's a video called Why Girls Flake that Jackie does a great job of with me. And yeah, she might have a great big stinking zit on her nose, like a big fucking ripper. And she's a supermodel with this gigantic big fucking boil on her nose that, you know, if she if she puts her sunglasses on too quickly, she might pop the thing and it'll just explode everywhere. She could be having a bad hair day. She could be bleeding a lot down there, and not really want you to start pushing for the good stuff when she's gushing like a Iguazu Falls.
Yeah, I mean, not even a big one, like even just a small one. You know, early dating, women get nervous too. Okay, so yeah, we, like, you can see, especially if we're like putting in a lot of effort in, you know, how we're presenting ourselves. Yeah, we don't want to be dating you on a bad day. So Simply Learn's come up with some of the books that he's read. Should I quickly put that up before we move
Yeah,
forward?
sure.
James?
We need to do what we say we're going to do as much as possible.
Yeah. So yeah, I read all the books of Robert Greene, influenced by Robert Cialdini, preferably Irrational, Dale Carnegie, Eric Berne. Read People Like a Book by Patrick King, Chris Voss, Joe Navarro, Daniel Goleman.
Good man. I'll tell you what, I've read out of interest. Cialdini influence, be top 10 top 10 novels, top 10 favorite books is very different. Robert Greene, I've read Art of Seduction. I didn't really rate that myself. Predictably Irrational, I haven't read that. Dale Carnegie, How to Influence Influence People. One of the 3 most important books in the history of the whole world. Not like War and Peace or Plato's Republic, but I mean self-help books. In fact, it's the only if you look at the 3 books that have influenced my life the most, that's the only self-help one. One's literature, the other's philosophy. Eric Berne, I haven't read that. It's on my shelf, but I really should read that. I'm probably really good at that already because of dating coaching and sales. Don't know who Patrick King is. Chris Voss, I love that guy. I've binged his podcast. He's a cool dude. I should read his book. I've read the first chapter of another negotiation book. And Daniel Goleman, I should really read that. So yeah, this gives you a bit of an idea about anything that's good. For guys who like books, Influence is amazing. How to Influence People is beyond amazing. And anyway, yeah, so you're not reading like hardcore literature. So maybe start out with Gone Girl. Gone Girl. If you've seen the movie, the book goes into much, much more detail. That's an excellent book on female psychology and what women are really capable of. Once you read that, come back to a YouTube and ask James, okay, I've read Gone Girl. What's my next piece of homework? So anyone who is interested in that, yeah, just read Gone Girl. That's I can't call it literature. Novels to Understand Women Better 101. Gone Girl's a pretty good start. Next question. Now we might get back onto the scheduled programming, so we're not upsetting too many young fellows. I much prefer doing the comments, to tell you the truth. One day we'll be big enough where we can just do the comments, Tess. That'll be a good day. We'll make some. When you guys, whatever you do, subscribe, like, share it with your milkman. I know they don't have milkman anymore, but whatever. Share it with your personal trainer. Share it with your doctor, and save it. Somehow YouTube bars up when you save our videos, and you'll see Tess doing a lot more videos, and me too once we get more subscribers. So we're up to be cool with your age. Be cool with your age. Okie dokie. A client of mine who lives in the most expensive street in Australia, a street called Point Piper. I saw him 1 month and he looked like he was 43. I saw him nearly a year later. He looked like he was 55 or 56 or 57, and he looked very unhealthy. What happened? He met a girl, usual rich guy. He has to take him to a $20 million house in order to seduce them. That was his specialty. And he did that with this girl, but he really liked her, so he lied about his age. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think he was 43. He said he was 34 or something. He didn't look 34. And anyway, I think this girl took a bit of a umbrage at being misled and deceived. And this dopey fuck took her to 3 continents for like 2 or 3 or 4 months each. And she blue-balled him every single night. Yes, every single night. All of you guys want to be tall, handsome, rich, good at sport. You want to be a tough guy. Yeah, better than average looking. And when you are, and you don't understand women, this is what happens to you. She completely destroyed him as a man. His friends were like saying, man, you got to get help. You got to go to therapy. You got to dump this girl. But he couldn't do it. She had him addicted. She had him absolutely addicted. He was the worst student out of the thousands I've coached, because he eventually did my boot camp and ignored everything I said. He just sat texting this girl the whole time. And he was too scared to do one approach in the whole boot camp because he's rich. The boot camp cost meant nothing to him. So don't lie about your age. I personally literally lead with my age. The reason I do it is not to waste time. I'm 55 now. If I meet a girl who's clearly in her 20s, I don't wait an hour, waste an hour of my life to find out if she's going to freak out about my age. I will literally, whenever she does something impressive, like if she said she read a book or she said she's traveled, like go, oh, wow, Jody, you seem to have traveled quite a bit for a girl of your age. Tell me, how old are you? And then when she says, oh, I'm 27, I go, oh, wow, that's interesting. You're so worldly and intelligent for 27. Tell me, what do your parents do for work? And then I use this as misdirection, like a magician, like abracadabra, while he puts a pretend thumb on and hides a bird, or I don't know how you'd hide a bird in the thumb, but hide something in the thumb, maybe a cigarette once you put it out. So yeah, I use it as misdirection. So yeah, now most of you guys in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, you come to this YouTube live, you want to date a girl 5 or 10 or 15, or maybe if you're 50 already or 60, you might want to date a girl 20, maybe even 25 years younger than you. So you're not necessarily like me, where I would still love to have a big family, even though I've left it pretty late. So I want a girl who's like, close to peak fertility. Well, not peak fertility, that's getting into teenage years, but not too far from peak fertility. So I can still potentially have 3 or 4 or 5 kids. Because after all this philandering over 103 countries, I'd really like to come home to a nice house in the country with a beautiful girl and some dogs and kids, and actually live that life rather than what I've been doing. I still want to be the world's greatest dating coach. So yeah, I tend to date younger. Anyway, enough about me. So lying about your age will probably not help you, or probably not help you. It just will probably not help you. Because like I talk about how a lot of people think I look fairly young. Just let me get the camera back up so I can see. So yeah, if you look at me, not a wrinkle in sight. Not a wrinkle in sight. Apparently there's a few crow's feet around my eyes, just tiny little ones. 55 years old, Australian, on my way to being potentially a professional junior cricketer. So much time at the beach, not a wrinkle. That's because I'm healthy on the inside. Bit of a segue, but Andrew Huberman, Stanford neuroscientist, he teaches you how to be healthy. But a lot of people say I look a lot younger than Andrew Huberman. So I teach you how to meet, attract, and sleep with younger girls. He teaches you cutting edge biohacking. Who looks younger? Have a think about that. My usual joke is that's what those Illuminati do, but I don't go as young as them, or potentially drink some of their bodily fluids that are red, because that's really gross and weird. I'm not into the devil. Anyway, I'm crapping on a bit. I think someone said I amused them, so I got a bit fired up. Tess will probably ban the guy who said I'm funny from the chat for encouraging me. Yeah, that got a big supermodel smile out of Tess. Someone's encouraging James. Stop it. Stop it. See how long she kept her eyes shut for? Because she knew I read her body language rather well. Anyway, let's get back to scheduled programming. So yeah, I was going on about how I probably do legitimately look very young for my age. Thanks to all my younger girlfriends. But when I smile, I age like 10 years or roughly, I don't know, 10 or 12 years because the skin around your eyes is nowhere near as thick as the skin. This is what happens when you date a bunch of models and employ a bunch of models. You know, all this trivia. So the skin around my eyes is much more subtle, thin than the skin here and here. So when I smile, I'm 10 fucking years older, or 15 on a good day. So yeah, you can lie about your age, but so often you get caught out, and most of you can't lie to women anyway. So I just really wouldn't bother lying about it. Tess, do you want to add to that? I'll leave you to talk about how for a pretty girl or a younger girl, it's very insecure if the guy is ashamed about something. He needs to start lying about it, or even if he's not lying, just playing it down a whole bunch. So if you give me your 2 cents worth on this. It's 2026. Can we still say 2 cents? Because that's not really worth much. It's got to be sort of $2,000 the way property prices and the cost of living is going. So can you give me your $2,000 worth on that? Because I think that saying came from a time where money was actually worth something.
Sure.
Elon Musk's a fucking trillionaire. Can you imagine living to see a trillionaire? They barely had billionaires when I was a boy. There might have been one in Japan. Now we've got a trillionaire. That's 1,000 fucking times. Or maybe Rockefeller was a billionaire at one stage. No, I don't think he was. Rockefeller was only ever worth 350 in today's money. In that anyway, enough of the finance stuff. Tess, guys lying about their age is not sexy. Tell us why.
No. Okay. So yes, it shows insecurity. First of all, like James said, and you know, one of the most attractive things is when a guy is just comfortable in his own skin, comfortable with his potential, weaknesses or shortcomings or whatever, and he just wears it on his chin, and he's like, yeah, well, whatever. And he knows his strengths as well, right? And he's confident. He's got self-esteem. That is super, super, super attractive. So a guy who needs to be lying to hide certain things, like his age or whatever, it's not attractive to us. It's like, okay, this guy's like, yeah, he's insecure. And yeah, like one of the most cringeworthy things is when, you know, an older guy tries to act younger in the way he dresses, or, you know, whatever, the image he's trying to project, getting way too much plastic surgery, or just, fashion sense, trying to like keep up with modern younger trends, etc. It's like, come on, just like grow up. And remember, women, like when women are attracted to older guys, they know that you're older, right? So don't try to act young. It kind of negates that. It's and the reason, like one of the big reasons they're attracted to older guys is for your self-confidence. When you're lying about that, it's the opposite of that. So the other really, really big problem with lying about your age is you're telling a lie straight away. You know, if things go well and you've built some attraction and this progresses to something more long term, it's definitely going to come out that you've lied about your age at some stage. And that is a really bad starting point with a woman. Obviously, in a ongoing relationship, trust is really, really important. So if you've lied straight up about your age or something else, she's just thinking, what else has he lied about? Can I trust him? Can I, whatever. So we never lie, never lie. It's not a good place to be. Like, it just shows that you're trying to hide something, shows you that you're insecure about something, and that you're not trustworthy. So it's not a good idea. Be cool with your age. Know that, if a woman's open to being with you and she knows you're a bit older, it's obvious. So there's no point in hiding it.
Thank you, Tess. We might get back to questions.
Yeah. Also, just quickly, we had you asked a couple of people to comment whether they were happy with us doing more than what we say we were going to do. So Martin says yes, 7 is great. Kenneth says it's good to give more than you say. Good job, James. Thank you. And Landon says the more tips, the better. Thanks. Okay, awesome. So we didn't have anyone disagreeing with that. So that's really awesome. Thanks, guys. Again, if you've just tuned in, we said we were going to give you 5 points. We've actually got a couple of extras tonight, so it's just a bonus. Yeah, sorry if that annoys anyone. But let's move on with the questions. Peter, it was asking, do women plan or consciously test men, or do they test men without realizing it?
Great question. Both. Because I've been surrounded by so many girls, I realize I'm testing someone. I don't realize I'm doing it. Maybe I'm becoming a girl. Yeah, so that both. Now, the more manipulative, the more cunning, the more bitchy, the more of a gold digger she is, the more of a bitch she is, quite frankly, the more she's going to test deliberately, whereas a lot of girls will test unconsciously. Most girls will test consciously at some point, but between a really lovely girl who's, long-term girlfriend, wife, mother material, she might test consciously 10% of the times versus a sort of manipulative Amber Heard sort of archetype might test consciously 90 or 95% of the time. Some girls know what they're doing. A lot of girls get a lot of pleasure out of fucking with men. So there's a whole continuum, just like you have guys who would, I don't know if whatever, violence against women is a good metaphor, but you have guys who are really good guys, and you have guys who are really good guys most of the time, and you have guys who are just pricks the whole time. So yeah, they definitely test without realizing it. Tess, do you want to add to that? I'm sure you'll have a $2,000 worth to add to that one.
Yeah, of course. Exactly what James said. Women definitely test subconsciously. It's more about observation, she's going to see how you handle things if shit hits the fan, or if problems arise, and how you handle that, how you deal with stress, etc. Also, she's going to be testing like how you respond in every scenario, like if she's got other attractive friends around, like how do you respond to that? And like we said earlier, if she's got friends who aren't as attractive, like how do you respond to that? Those are lots of tests which, it's she may not have orchestrated that, but she's definitely observing, and that in turn becomes a test, right? Because but then there are women who will set up tests as well. That's very, very common. Really simple ones are just where she might be testing how much power she has in the relationship, or how much you really like her, that sort of thing. Early on, simple things like asking you to do little tasks for her, or also tasks which are quite inconvenient for you as well. Like you really have to go out of your way to do that thing to, give her your energy and time. That's she wants to know like where she stands with you. Those are some really simple ones. She just basic things about your character as well. Like she might say things which might be quite absurd, or a little bit rude, or provocative in some way, and just see how you handle that. Are you going to be reactive? Are you going to be combative? How you respond to those things. They're all really common tests that women do. So that was quite long-winded, but both. The answer to this is both. Oh, sorry.
One girl who unfortunately I lived with, who unfortunately I let her get too close to the business. The business was growing, whatever. Somewhat immodestly, I was amazing in bed. I was literally picking up girls for her to play with, to sleep with. But I'm pretty absent-minded. I was also very busy. So she keeps going, you don't do anything around the house. Leave it all for me. And she just harassed me for not pulling my weight domestically. Even though there's a bit of a woman's test coming up in a second. She hassled me for not pulling my weight domestically. And when she did that, I'm like, okay, if you're going to fuck with me, I go, real men don't do dishes or eat pussy. I used to joke about how I always outsource the going down bit, because when you've seen a woman do it, I mean, how can I compare with that? It's just not going to happen. I can't do that. I don't exactly have the Gene Simmons tongue either, so I don't really have much potential at the old licky thing. So she used to test me by trying to get me to do housework. So I just said, real men don't do dishes or eat pussy. But interestingly enough, this is where you're getting your value from these questions. I was plaguing this girl, fucking plaguing her for months. Hire a cleaner, hire a cleaner, hire a fucking cleaner. Can you please hire a cleaner? And she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it. I had the money to pay for a cleaner. I'd always had cleaners when I was in finance. I got a cleaner as soon as I left home, because I worked in finance. And I moved in with a friend I played cricket with and basketball with. So we immediately got a cleaner, because we don't want to fight about that stuff. But she just wouldn't hire a cleaner. You can see female psychology. How women will set ways up to fuck with you, particularly the women you don't want. Anyway, next question.
Okay. Sorry, I've lost track of it here. Okay, question from this is Kenneth. If I am going out today, should I just try open-ended questions with everyone?
Yeah, definitely. You got to find a way to open them. So sometimes, whatever, you might go, oh, where's a good cafe around here? Or it sounds so boring, and there's some silly course that tells you not to do this. One of the openers that I've used quite a bit is like, oh, great weather today, just like an old woman at a bus stop. But then when I go, oh, great weather today, I'm doing it with a bit of energy, and I'm looking deeply into the girl's eyes. And if she's like, oh, yeah, it's good weather, and she holds my eye contact quite strongly, that's a sign that she potentially wants me to talk to her. Whereas I just saw some ad on YouTube for some AI conversation course, and it said that's a terrible opener. If you know what you're doing, it's a great opener, because it doesn't look like it's trying so hard. This AI conversation course, it was telling you to do some complicated thing. You probably sat and planned for 10 minutes before you asked it. And women know that it's a canned opener, particularly after the dating coach thing. So yeah, ask open-ended questions. It's I consider it the greatest dating tip of all time. Tess corrected me and said the core understanding of female psychology is the greatest dating tip of all time. So what Tess alerted me to brilliantly, it's probably her number one most genius moment in her whole time at Social Coach, and she's done a few great things, is that, yeah, open-ended questions, touch, really good listening, having a date plan, women's tests even, all this stuff's really, really important. But if you don't have the underlying framework of understanding female psychology, which is probably what we put more time and effort into anything than giving you, if you don't have the underlying framework, you don't really understand how the tools fit together, and you're sort of very clumsy with using them. If that makes sense. It's like, I don't know, it's like a blind person boxing. It's like, oh, you teach them how to move, but they can't see anything. So they're just flailing around in midair. So yeah, if you don't understand the core concepts of female psychology, which is what we spend so much of our time, particularly on Zoom and in our courses and on our boot camps doing, then yeah, you don't really get it. You want to do next question unless you want to add something, Tess? Did you talk about that? You can talk about that.
No,
well, I get a bit of a banana.
Sure. Yeah, definitely go out and ask open-ended questions. Absolutely. And we've been saying this over and over tonight, that the more practice you can get, the better. I think I read earlier that you were going to go out with your dog, which is awesome. That's going to probably make it a lot easier for you. You're going to be getting some attention from women, no doubt, just from having the dog there with you. So that's going to be super easy. And yeah, I think in those sorts of scenarios, like James said, just ask her something. You don't have to have some cheesy pickup line or something that's really obscure and weird. Just say what makes sense. So if you're out and about with your dog, you know, comment on the weather, or comment on something you can observe that's near you, or you know, something really, really simple like that, to break the ice. And then the woman's not going to have this barrier up to talking to you like, oh, this guy's like clearly just trying to pick me up. It's cheesy and creepy. She's just like, oh yeah, I'll talk to this guy. And then when you start asking her questions about herself, she's like, oh, okay, he wants to get to know me. So yeah, so that's how we progress things. But yeah, you know, where you're at this stage, Kenneth, definitely just practice some open-ended questions, and it can just be a very short interaction where it's kind of like, hey, one question or two questions, like, cool, nice to meet you. Well, maybe I'll see you around. Bye. And it's just about taking that first step. Okay, moving on to the next question, James.
Yep.
Okay, question from Landon. What do younger women secretly find irresistible about older men?
Probably relationship experience is one that is huge. They find men their own age inexperienced in relationships, immature, and in many cases they love the fact that you've been divorced, you've had kids, you've had a toxic woman in the past. One of the things they really love, and this hits home with me, because I got to travel a huge amount in my 30s, I basically let go maybe 6 girls I'd give a kidney to get a relationship with now. Yeah, it's just like you don't. One of the big things is a lot of younger women, say a girl's 29 and she dates a guy who's 34. She's starting to stress out about her biological clock. He's starting to realize how many women he can bang. On a level he never been able to has before because of his status. His face is filled out of a whole bunch of other stuff. So you've got a girl who's like, oh, I better settle down and get serious about some guy, hooking up with a guy 5 years older than her, which is a bit of an age difference already. And he's like, every girl's fucking throwing themselves at me, and I managed to sleep with a bunch, which I never have before. So it's completely, in many cases, destined to fail. So yeah, women realize this, so they start to want an older guy who's not going to break their heart again, who's got a bit of experience with women, who maybe doesn't have the abs or the biceps or maybe even the energy that a guy close to their own age has, but he's a much better boyfriend. He's a much better guy in a relationship. He's much, men who are successful tend to be very immature, other than their business, whereas guys a bit older might have had a bit more experience with women. Tess, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, definitely. That's a big one. I think that also being like emotionally mature as well. Just maturity in general is that's like, yeah, what really makes you stand apart from younger guys. It's like you've got direction, you know what you want in life, you know who you are, you're just a lot more grounded and and solid, that is absolutely so attractive. So I think that's a big one.
Fantastic. I'm just trying to figure out which of my crappy lighting settings is better. Do we go dark, James, or I'll show you? Oh, that's really dark, James. Or do we go fluorescent, James? Which do you prefer, dark or fluorescent? Have a vote in the chat. And I'm
gonna vote the light on. It looks a bit funny. It looks a bit funny with you sitting in the dark. So
not complete dark. Like that one which is better?
I still think light on.
Fluoro, James, it is. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm going to overrule if anyone disagrees, but Martin says fluorescent. So thank you for referring.
I look better. I'm better looking with dark, James.
Funny. No, this is better. This is better, James. It looks like you've actually
fluoro James it is. So
this is better. Okay.
I'm a twinkling star. Okay,
right,
next question. Enough of my nonsense.
Next question. I've got a bit lost again. Sorry, let me just let me get back on track. Okay, a question from Kenneth. If you lose at something and a woman gives you feedback that that's unattractive, is that a test or a window into her?
Can you give me more examples, please? Can you tell me what it is? Because I can't give you an honest answer unless we have more detail. We don't like giving dishonest answers.
Yeah, yeah, definitely some more information would help there. That's unattractive. I mean, it's not very nice to begin with, so it might be a bit of a window into her. Like if she's like poking you while you're down, not the nicest thing. But also definitely, I would say definitely a test to see how you respond to that as well. You know, if you're like, oh, what the hell, you're a bitch, like why would you do that? And you're becoming combative and getting really defensive or starting something out of that, then she knows, okay, this is a reactive guy. But if you were to kind of call her out, but in a subtle way, and not be combative, that would probably be a better way to address it without as in you would be passing the character test, at the same time not putting fuel on the fire. So it's both a window into her and a test, I would say. But yeah, let's see.
Someone said you look even younger when you're not on camera, James.
That's nice. Obviously someone who knows you. Okay, so just to add to that, like what I do for sport, I don't really want to say it. Okay, so what you do for sport, if you lose and she says that's unattractive. Okay, well, I mean, I think I know what you do for sport, and I think it takes a lot of courage to do what you do. So I guess the best way to respond to that would just be like, oh, okay, well, it's a shame you feel that way, because I think it's cool that I'm doing this. And, for me, it's not about winning or losing. It's like, it's about the experience. I just enjoy it. So if you think that's unattractive, then that's your own problem. I don't know.
To be honest, he's just come on as a client last week, coming from Liverpool. Not Liverpool, from Glasgow. He's going to come do a boot camp with us. Firstly, I think if you surveyed a huge number of girls about that sport, I think the majority would find it very, very, very sexy. And secondly, if they understood anything about the sport and the complexity and the strategy, I think it's a woman's test. I think she's probably massively attracted to the testosterone you've got from doing this sport. And I think she's just screwing with you. So the philosopher question is really good. Why? Why does that make me a loser? That would be what I would ask. I actually envy you. I'd love to have the courage to do that sport. I've done that sport, but not properly. Okie dokie. Next question.
Yeah, sure. So a question. This was a follow-on question from Simply Learn. For anyone who's just jumped on, Simply Learn was asking for some suggestions of some books to read to help with female psychology. Someone suggested to me yesterday, D.H. Lauren. Have you guys tried?
Yeah, Lady Chatterley's Love is excellent. That's good. That's a lot more literature than the other stuff you've read, but you could give it a go. I think at the start is takes a bit of getting into. And he's not like D.H. Lawrence isn't like Dickens, where he's really chatty and blah 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 and high energy. D.H. Lawrence more. I don't know how you describe it, but yeah, I definitely got a lot out of Lady Chatterley's Lover. Yeah. Oh, what was it? Yeah, one of the greatest lines from that book. I don't want to give away too much. The gardener, I think his name's Valors or someone. He goes, a woman, you can tell when a woman's been properly warmed through by a man. She's not concerned with all the gossip and claptrap that all the other women are. So yeah, if you can properly warm a woman through, you turn her into a proper woman who's not worried about gossip and claptrap and celebrity gossip and who's banging who, because she's a proper woman who's had a proper man. Most of them only ever get that when they go on a holiday to Brazil. Because those white guys are pretty crappy at making those women curl their toes and come a lot. Not so much the Brazilians, or the Latin Americans in general. Tess got screwed. She dated a Brazilian guy who was a male model who didn't need to learn any bedroom skills. So she got a hot Brazilian guy who wasn't that good at the toe curling, from what I understand. So yeah, you got to date a slightly uglier Brazilian guy. So
it's okay.
He'll sort you out.
Okay, hopefully he's not watching, but I don't think he is, so that's fine.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. He doesn't, like, he probably knows. I mean, I did tell him, but he didn't listen. It's okay. Let's move on.
They wrote a song about it in the 90s. You might not remember. I'm too sexy for this song, too sexy for this song, too sexy it hurts. I am a model, you know what I mean? And I just give them 2 minutes and then I squirt off and then go look in the mirror because I'm a model. So I don't need to give girls good sex because they'll stay with me anyway. Anyway, that was pathetic. Does anyone remember Right Said Fred? That's one of those one-hit wonder bands with a bunch of bald guys who thought they were models. Anyway, I'm showing my age, bit of 90s music trivia. Let's get on with the scheduled programming.
Okay, just another beautiful comment from Cynthia, and I had to put this up because it's beautiful. Thanks, guys, for your precious time and wisdom you share with us so humbly. Just want to wish you best in your personal and professional life. Keep rising and shine. Thank you so much, especially because you're new here tonight. So that means a lot coming from someone who's first timer here. Okay.
That's a good name too.
Yeah. So history says, do you deliberately find out her values and mirror them back to her? The CIA seems to teach their agents a method very similar to yours based on NLP, also about the focus of getting her to talk with open-ended questions.
Okay. I had a little geek out period on CIA, FBI, Mossad people on podcasts, and I really enjoyed it. But I wouldn't get too deep into the weeds with what they do. Some of it may be useful for dating. Some of it may really backfire. I don't know if we've coached you. I've seen you on a bunch of the YouTube lives. Some of it could work. Some of it could seriously backfire. And the other thing, I've watched that Chris Voss guy. I mean, he's a smooth dude. But yeah, he can pull off some of those techniques because he's a professional. And many of you guys as amateurs trying to emulate the CIA tactics might really make a dick of yourself, particularly if you're doing it with younger women. Does that make sense? So I'm not for 1 second saying those CIA tactics. I think Chris Voss is FBI from memory. I'm not saying for 1 second that stuff can't work well with women. Some of it won't, some of it will. But what I'm saying is if you haven't had some sort of professional training in it, particularly as it relates to women, you might find you make a real dick of yourself, just like using pickup artist techniques. So I'd be very careful about finding out her values and mirroring them back to her, unless you've had training in that specific area. And you know that is good for dating. So again, I'm not putting down this body of intellectual property at all. I mean, obviously it sort of runs the world, and it runs a lot of things that we're not really aware of. And some of these people are absolutely astoundingly brilliant. But are you capable of using their techniques? As one of my lines, I was telling someone, I think I'm telling the guy from Glasgow who I really liked, who was on a second ago. 3 guys who interned with me back when Social Coach started, sort of in the 2000s. They were at university when I coached them. Now, they're all smart guys, but yeah, 2 of them are worth 10 million. I had dinner with them 2 or 3 years ago. This is pre-COVID, I think. I had dinner with them roughly around COVID. And 2 of them are worth 10 million and one is worth 6 million. So yeah, and they said a huge part of that is just essentially doing 20 boot camps or 10 boot camps, whatever the hell these guys did, just holding a video camera or running messages for Tess or one of the female coaches, going to shops or whatever they're doing, or picking guys up from reception. These guys absolutely destroyed financially. So I believe to go from average with women or even above average with women to doing really well and getting girls out of your league is the single greatest soft skills, sales, negotiation, influence, make people like you, training you can ever have. Because if you can walk up to Tess and her model friends at a bar when they've got these tiny little dresses on and they're just getting all the attention in the room and they know they're king shit, if you can do that, let alone get a date with them, let alone take them home, you have skills that you will absolutely fucking murder in the corporate world with. I swear to God. I just gave you an example today from some AI tool where you devote 7 minutes a day to improving your conversation skills. And one of the openers that a guy used on a girl was terrible. It was like, yeah, I spent the last 20 minutes thinking what I'm going to say to you, which girls know that's not natural at all in most cases. So yeah, now the only thing that I think would ever beat Social Coach dating training for your soft skills in business is the CIA or Mossad. And yes, so many clients, like guys who are complete losers, who are bankrupt, went on to be worth tens of millions of dollars. One of them literally went from couldn't afford rent, called himself a business coach, to literally knowing all the young rich list and a fair bit of the old rich list in Australia. He introduced me to an Aussie billionaire I coached. Anyway, next question.
Yeah, I wanted to just quickly comment on this one, if that's okay.
Great, I'll eat a banana.
Sorry, James. Because yeah, I really liked what you said. Yeah, obviously, I think that the reason that they're telling you to find out her values and mirror them back to her is because people are generally attracted to people who are similar. You know, if you're highlighting, hey, we have this thing in common, then she's like, oh, cool, like we could potentially get along long term. You know, that's quite obvious. But if you're intentionally mirroring things back to her and it's not authentic and it's like a lie or it's forced, then it's going to come out later. So it comes back to never lie. Don't force anything that's inauthentic. But I completely agree with if you do have values that are similar, or if there are things that can relate, you know, if you've asked her some good open-ended questions and she's talked about an experience she's had, you know, using emotive language or whatever, and you can relate to that emotion, but it might not be the same sort of topic, but something different. That's again, you're just relating to the way she feels about something. It shows, hey, I have something in common with you. So anytime you can, highlight commonality that you have, it's definitely worth doing, but don't force it. So I wouldn't necessarily be trying to find out her values and be forcing to mirror that back to her. It has to be authentic. Yeah.
So most of these, if I'm correctly, what you're asking is, how do I build attraction with women? I'm not tall, handsome, rich, got a body like a professional athlete. I don't have a yacht or a Ferrari. I want to attract women. I potentially want to attract high quality younger women. How do I do that? So many of the dating coaches on YouTube tend to teach you like pickup artistry 101 or 201 or even 301 or something. Part of which is just copying stuff from other bodies of intellectual property, like in the intelligence services, and trying to replicate that in dating. I'm not saying some of this won't work in terms of replicating what CIA guys do with women. I'm sure it will, but you need training and you need to do it skillfully. Whereas social coaches answer if you're not tall, rich, handsome, charismatic, you got a big black dick. If you don't have all these things going for you, where women is naturally attracted to you, what you want to do is you want to get your body language sorted. You want to ask really good questions. You want to listen really well. You want to get really good at skillfully and gently touching her. You want to have a really good date plan. So we make you confident. You don't need tricks or techniques. The techniques are about as complicated as ask open-ended questions. That's really our most complicated technique. Plan a date properly. There's not much technique. It's all just basic, simple stuff, but you've just got to piece it together well. So yeah, we're not trying to come up with all these games and tricks and gambits like the pickup artists or many dating coaches talk about. You don't need to pretend you're this cocky, funny sort of, I don't know, guy. You don't need to be Russell Brand in order to get a good girl. You just got to be the most confident version of you can be. Touch, eye contact, open-ended questions, body language, etc. Something else I wanted to say on that point. And yeah, what we teach is so much more genuine. There's lots of dating coaches who say, oh, I'm a natural, I'm a natural. Then when you watch some of their stuff, they might be a lot more natural than the rest of the dating coaches, but I think what we're doing is just completely natural. It's two people having a conversation that gets deeper, and then as the conversation gets deeper, they touch them in slightly more and more intimate places, if that makes sense. So it all starts, as Tess says, by understanding female psychology and asking really good questions. In terms of this is where some of these questions are so good. There was a guy earlier. Who was the one who asked, the 007 guy and the history jerk guy? You need a special prize. So we don't deliberately mirror stuff back. What we do is, if I'm talking to Tess, just say, oh, Tess, what was the best thing you got up to in the last month? She said paragliding.
Oh, paragliding.
Okay, we'll do it again so it seems a bit more natural. So
Sorry.
Tess, yeah, what's been the highlight last month for you?
I've been doing heaps of paragliding actually.
Paragliding. Oh, really? That's amazing. I've never done it. But I've hang glidden, I've skydived a bunch of times, bungee jumped, I don't know, 40 times. Yeah, tell me more about your paragliding.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of like coastal ridge soaring lately.
That's great, Tess. Thanks. We could do a longer one like this. But what did I do? The comments take too long to go through. So what I'm doing is she's given me something I'm interested in. Also, one of the things that would be one of the most attractive things a woman could ever say she did. If you get some hot fucking catwalk model who paraglides, I'm in. So I'm giving her a whole. I haven't paraglided. I hope to soon. Who knows? I might even do it with Tess someday. She can teach me that wasn't a pickup line. That was like a professional networking occasion. I'm telling her, oh, I've skydived a bunch of times. I've bungee jumped. I've hang glidden, which is very close to paragliding, except you've got a much more robust set of wings, not just a chute. So we're reflecting back my values onto her when she does stuff to appreciate it. Once you get the hang of building good questions and listening, Tess will tend to teach you more about how to share in bite-sized pieces. On that subject, I've been accused in the comments of simping. Now, I'm one of these guys who likes to read really old books from dead people. So I didn't really know what simping meant because I don't spend too much time on the YouTube or the Instagram, let alone the TikTok. I don't even know how to spell TikTok. I keep putting a K in there when I try to search it. So I've been accused of simping, which apparently means whatever, telling a girl she's beautiful or whatever like that, sucking up to a girl. Okay, I've got a point of view on simping. Now, if I'm trying to get into some young lady's pants I don't tell her she's beautiful pretty much ever. I certainly don't make physical compliments. I might open her with she's really graceful if that's true. But if I don't want to get into a young lady's pants, it seems I simp a lot. So I'm constantly telling women where there's no sexual intention. I'm constantly telling them they're beautiful, telling them they look great in their outfit, giving them whatever you call simping. I'm constantly doing that for a whole bunch of reasons. Women like being told they're beautiful, but it also short sabotages seduction if they legitimately are beautiful. The other big thing about that is it obviously makes girls like you. And the other thing is, if I say I'm hanging out with a girl who's a friend's girlfriend or a female friend, and she comes out with a really beautiful outfit one day, and I go, "Oh, Matt, oh, you look so good in that outfit. You know, the blue really blings out your eyes," which is a pretty overt physical compliment, albeit a clever one. She starts giving me all this attention, going, "Where's my next compliment? Where's my next compliment? Where's my next compliment?" And then guess what? All this energy, the other hot girl over there who I'm not going to compliment, she senses the energy on the girl I supposedly simped with, and I get to bang her. So, yeah. So with my employees who are models, yeah, I suppose I simp on them, but I'm just being charming. I'm not trying to weasel my way into their pants. I'm just being charming and polite and nice. So yeah, so that's why James simps with Tess. So now you know there's a method to my madness. I'm not just licking the soles of her Italian designer label shoes. I think I'm gonna have a banana break. What's next, Tess?
Okay, a question from Virtual. What turns women off faster than anything?
Tess, you can go. I'm chewing.
Oh God, where do I start? Bad breath is a really bad one straight away. But also like style. You know, this is if you're thinking about straight away before she knows you. There are certain things that yeah, she'll just look at you and be like, oh. Yeah, so it can be like style or the way you present yourself. Hygiene, you know, obviously if she can smell you, your breath or your body odor, or like really strong cologne, yuck, ick. Yeah, they can be huge turn-offs before you even open your mouth. You know, even if you're like an attractive guy, yeah, who's dressed really well, like if she can smell you, yuck. So yeah, I think those are yeah, some instant things. Obviously, like once you get into conversation, yeah, if if your first line is some cheesy pickup line, that can often turn women off straight away. Or yeah, a lot of the mistakes that guys make. One of the early ones we talked about earlier tonight was trying to be overtly impressive. Like talking about your accolades and your achievements in life, blah blah blah. It just comes across as insecurity, and it's a bit cringe, like not humble whatsoever. Yeah, a bit egotistical, and yeah, I guess those things are big turnoffs. I mean, also if you come across really really like awkward and nervous, to a certain extent, if the woman's nice, like she'll still give you, like she might, that a little bit of nervousness can actually add to sexual tension. But if you're just bumbling and making a fool of yourself, that's definitely not attractive. Yeah, I think another big one as well for older men is making about money, which we've talked about in some of the other content that we've delivered. Yeah, so when you're talking about your money lots or like flashing expensive things, etc., that's really unattractive. Yeah, I'm not sure you missed a bit of that, James, but yeah, I just talked about yeah, body odor, strong cologne, style, yeah, bad breath. They're going to be the first things that women are just going to like, oh, straight away before before you even start the conversation. And then I talked about a few other things once conversation starts.
That's excellent. Thank you, Tess. The other thing I would add is really obvious sort of pickup techniques, strategies.
I mentioned that as well, James.
Oh, you did? Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Sorry. I might just reinforce a bit. In 2005, the book The Game was published, which is a really well-written book. The guy's a genius writer. He writes for New York Times. But I mean, it must have been the worst self-help book ever written. I mean, it was terrible, and there's a lot of bad self-help books. It was just dreadful, some of the stuff in it. It was so profoundly silly and stupid. So there's still a lot of people teaching, aspects of that on YouTube, and there's a lot of guys still doing that sort of stuff. So for a woman who's grown up in the last 20 years and obviously gone through puberty and developed boobs and become physically attractive, she's heard that stuff so many times, often from the weirdest, well on the spectrum, sociopathic, bitter dudes. So the second she gets an inkling of you using any sort of pickup artist techniques, she just no. She just completely tunes out. Or potentially even worse, she lets you do your thing and she just sits there and just laughs her ass off. Then her next girl's lunch, where they sort of bitch and moan about guys, she's just going to I've been a dating coach for 20 years. I started shortly after the book The Game was published. The number of times all my beautiful model coaches have come in and gone, you wouldn't believe what this guy did to me this week. And they've got this story about this complete and utter fuckwit who's just done this dumb shit. And she says, oh, yeah. And so often they'll give you a number because it's like, well, he's asked for a number. I just put a false one in or just put my own number in, but I just never answer the thing unless I know who it is. I think in any sort of contrived dating stuff, I shared an example from a big YouTuber where he's supposedly on a date with a girl and she goes, oh, you look really handsome in that outfit. And he goes, oh, you must be thinking about taking me to bed or whatever he said. And it's just like, oh my God, why would anyone do that? The girl's waxed her private parts. She's changed her outfit 3 times. She's changed her bra 6 times. She's done her hair. She's showered. She's trying to make herself all pretty for you. She's giving you this nice compliment. And then you're just being a fuckwit. And you're just completely sabotaging everything, particularly if she's younger. That's what a lot of these people are teaching. We get some guys on our boot camps who've been taught this stuff. And it's just like, no, don't, go away. We've had complaints from our female trainers about them. Anyway, let's move on to the next question. So what turns women off faster than anything? My number one, apart from bad breath, is corny, contrived, obvious pickup artist techniques.
Yes, that's a good one. Almost 007 says, when a date opens up through listening and open-ended questions and gets emotional about past traumas or breakups, should I try to shift the focus to a lighter topic or continue down that conversation?
I honestly would need to actually have a lot more context to answer it. You probably don't want to go too far, but then I'll use an example from my boot camp. I was doing a demonstration in front of 15, 18 guys and probably 6 female coaches. And I was sort of role-playing a date with Jackie live in front of the boot camp. So guys got an idea of the drills we do on the Sunday of the boot camp. And I started asking about Jackie's family and then her father. Jackie's the girl you see on the YouTube. She's the most prominent one on the main YouTube channel. Which is the live channel where it's all Tess. Tess owns the lives. Jackie's probably one of the more prominent girls on the main channel. And she had quite a remarkable father who was extremely successful at what he did. And because of his success, he left Australia. I think he went to live in the US and Europe and built a very, very good business. And she was talking about how she used to fly her long school holidays to spend whatever, a month or 2 with her father. And then she talked about after having 2 months with this guy who she worshipped. The guy was like this super alpha male, artistic, super charismatic. Women loved him. Won the 2 or 3 best in Australia at what he did. And then at the end of this great summer with her dad, who she missed dearly, she'd have to get on this plane back from New York, which is like 28 hours, this little 6 or 7-year-old or 9-year-old girl. And she just talked, she's never known such heartache in her whole life. And she literally started crying in front of 15 people. 15, 18 guys and all these women, and we had to stop the demonstration. So yeah, that's an example how I really, through good open-ended questions and listening, which is what Tess will teach you if you click the link below. Yeah, I really got to touch her soul and really delve into the deepest parts of herself. Now, if you can get those sorts of outcomes with girls on dates, they just fall into bed with you. It's because like no other guys connected with me like that. And the most beautiful girls, as long as you know a bit about touch and you don't have bad breath and you dress okay, even if you don't dress okay, they just fall into bed with you, because most guys are just talking all about themselves and their BMW and their bench press and their last holiday or their new Maserati or something. So I don't know if this example helps you, but yeah, whenever I hear a girl who uses, or a person who uses the words trauma, or often like they're a therapist, I'm like, oh, I might just give you a wide berth, because yeah, you shouldn't really be talking too much about breakups on a date. So I don't know if hopefully my examples helped you. There's times when you do want to get into the deep and meaningful stuff and maybe talk about emotions. I don't know. Tess, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so obviously, like what James said, if you're able to get a woman to be open with you in an emotional way, it definitely brings down barriers and it builds trust as well, especially when there's, maybe some vulnerability there, something traumatic or whatever. But so that's great for building trust. But the issue is that if you then take it too far and you haven't established a sexual dynamic or sexual tension, etc., then you start becoming more like a therapist, and that can lead to like friend zone, right? So that's definitely not ideal. So that's what you have to be aware of in this scenario. You have to be aware of, is there a balance of how much sexual chemistry we have, and is the timing for this appropriate, and how deep am I going to go? Like obviously if she opens up really easily and yeah, that's great. It's like, okay, cool, she's quite open, and I'm focusing on building some trust here, which is great. But at the same time, you don't necessarily want to intentionally be going to the absolute depths of that if you haven't balanced that in some way. So yeah, the balance is important, I think.
Fantastic. Next question.
Okay. Question from Landon. With younger women, is there any chance you could be accidentally acting like her mentor instead of a man she wants? Good question.
I considered that in terms of one of my top 5 or top 7. It's up there. I didn't think it was in the top 7, but a lot of guys do this. They're constantly giving the girl life advice. It's like boasting about your money, but you're constantly trying to help her. Now, I left finance where I help people get richer, help myself get richer, because I wanted to do a lot of good for the world, other than just give kids who are never going to spend the inheritance anyway, bigger inheritances, and pour more money in S&P and all the stocks and whatever else, and property trusts. So yeah, I love helping people, and I may have fallen guilty of this myself in the past. So if you are 20 years older, or if you're 40 and she's 25, or you're 50 and she's 30 or 35, or you're 60 and she's 35, 40, then you can fall into the trap of giving from your abundance of life experience compared to her. And I'm not saying don't do it. That's part of the reason women want to date older men. But yeah, you don't want to overdo it. So you don't want to be her self-help coach or her coach. You want to be her lover. You want to be her lover. You want to be her lover. You want to be her boyfriend. You don't want to be her father or her teacher, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's a balancing act, and I need to see it on a case-by-case basis. Obviously, you try to help her out and you try to do the right thing by her, but you don't want it to become a mentor-mentee relationship. Very good question. If I was to do 15 of the mistakes older men make with younger women, that would definitely be on the list. So that's an excellent question. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a big one. I think I call it mansplaining. If you start mansplaining everything, she's just like, oh God, like go away. not sexy. So yeah, let's move on. Okay, this is an interesting question. I'm just going to put it up because I find it funny. From Paul. Welcome, Paul. You're new here. I find you attractive. Are you single, Jess? It's Tess. I'm 55. I'd love to find out what excites you mentally and emotionally. Okay, well, Paul, I think we need, if you've just tuned in, you've probably missed some important tips, because this is definitely not how you would approach a woman. I definitely have some advice I could give you. First of all, get the name right. Second of all, yeah, we don't recommend saying I find you attractive straight away. So yeah, I'll give you some tips and then I can answer your questions later. Move on. So
wait, can I touch that, Tess?
Yeah, yeah.
If you send text messages, don't be a lazy, and it almost said the C word, and use you. Use the English language the way it was intended, my son. Get the girl's name right in a text message. That's going to be a big help. I'm 55 and live to find out what excites you. So every breath you take, every move you make.
He said, sorry, he followed on with love, not live. So yeah, that was a typo.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I thought it was going to be a Sting song. Every breath you take, every move you make. Anyway, I liked it before the correction. And live to find out what excites you, like you're some sort of poet. It's like Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. Oh, heart thou, Juliet. Oh, heart thou, Romeo. Mentally and emotionally. So, okay, the second half has got some stuff going for it. So the first half's a fucking train wreck. The second half's got a lot of potential. So tell me what excites you most mentally, or tell me what excites you most intellectually. That's a great question. Just don't put the fucking garbage at the start and you're going to get a B+ or an A. Find out what excites you mentally and emotionally. What's another? Emotionally, tell me what you love most in life. So you're on the right track, Paul. This is a good example. When we do the Zoom calls, we get this all the time. The really lovely guy from Glasgow who's coming over for our boot camp, he was like this. He had a really good brain for figuring out what to do next in the conversation in terms of where to take it. But he was terrible on his first Zoom session at executing. So it's like if Paul did a Zoom session with his Paul Whalo. Opening line, I find you attractive. Are you single, Jess? I'm 55 and I'd love to find out what excites you mentally and emotionally. You sound like a fuckwit. I mean, that's like pickup artist 101 superb. But if we cut the second half of the question out and go, oh, Tess, so tell me what excites you most intellectually. That's a fucking ripper, man. I'll put that in my open-ended questions list. Or if we just rephrase emotionally, so Tess, tell me what you most love to do on the weekends, or tell me what you most love to do on your summer holidays, or tell me what you most love to do in a cold Sydney winter weekend. It's, again, A. So, yeah, lots of potential there, Paul. Just we need to improve a few things. Next question. We might get back to the point after this one.
Sure. James is asking, how do you approach when you're clearly interested and not come across as a creepy older man?
Great question. That's something most guys are scared of. The number one rule, whether you approach a girl who's 20 years younger than you or your age or even 30 years older, if you're into the geriatrics, like I believe that's a thing. Some guys just like women in nursing homes and some guys just like guys in nursing homes. some horrible things that go on in nursing homes. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but anyway, let's get back to what we're on about. You don't project sexual intent when you first start talking to her. I'm strongly against projecting sexual intent straight away until you've found something from the girl to earn it. Now, this is when I first start talking to her, just in completeness. I might see a really hot girl out somewhere, and I'll sort of start by looking at her like, and look her up and down in an overtly sexual way. But I'll never start talking to her in an overtly sexual way, or rarely. So yeah, I might signal, oh my God, you're hot. But I don't do that in the actual conversation. The conversation is, okay, you're really physically attractive. I could be interested in you, but let's find out a bit more about you and what we've got in common before I go the effort of seducing you. So yeah, how to approach when you're clearly interested and not come across as a creepy older guy. Don't make it sexual. Don't make it sexual. Don't make it sexual. The next thing is to get the touch, the eye contact, the body language, the spacing, the body positioning. Because if you walk up to a girl and you're facing directly at her, it's much more sexual than if you're just sort of a bit more casual. Depending on night game, day game, sometimes you want to be sometimes you want to be facing her front on, but front on you might need to be a bit further back than you would. I'm still so bad at this. How do I do this? Yeah, he's got it. Yeah, so touch, eye contact, body language, body positioning, distancing, high-level social intelligence, reading signals, like trying to pick out if you walk up to a girl for a first time, is she sort of like giving it that face? Did you see with Donald Trump how he did the AI picture of the Italian prime minister looking up at him going, and he said something like, I've got to get a restraining order. As only one president of the United States who could ever post that on social media. Mind you, there wasn't much social media before the last few presidents. Only one president of the United States has ever had a sense of humor like that. So if you imagine the whatever her name is, Maloney or Mahoney, what's the Italian prime minister's name? Can someone help me out? The blondie, Georgia or whatever her name is, like the face she made. So if a girl's making that face when you approach her, then yeah, she's into you. So you want to get better at reading these faces and reading her body language. If you approach her and she starts turning her body away, that could be a sign it's not going that well. Melons. I'm asking her name, not her chest. But anyway, I think it might have been a thing.
Maloney. So he said Maloney.
Maloney's melons. Maloney's melons. Maloney wants to show her melons to Donnie. I think she has got a crush on him just quietly. She's probably gone off the crush seeing as he's called it out. Tess, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, exactly what James said. Yeah, don't make it sexual. Like obviously, just coming off the point from Paul, you know, if the first thing you say is I find you attractive, or oh wow, I just had to come and say hello because I think you're so beautiful or something, that's immediately going to come across as a bit creepy because it feels like you've been checking her out from a distance or something. She's kind of like, oh, I feel a bit violated, or yeah, it's just very superficial. It's like it often causes her to put up a barrier straight away. Like it's not common that would cause a woman to be like, oh, really? You find me attractive? Yeah, it's usually women who don't hear that a lot who might respond well to that. So yeah, yeah, that would be my biggest one. Just avoid that. And yeah, James has already covered this well, so I don't need to add this too much.
We need a special prize for MJ Hundy because women make as much sense as Inception and Interstellar. The opening guide to female psychology should be an asterisk with findings can be wrong and irrelevant for no reason in particular. That is the comment of the month. It might be the comment of the decade. I shouldn't say that guy's not necessarily one of my favorite film directors. I don't feel the need to watch a film like 16 times just to figure out what's going on where everything goes backwards. He's worshipped on IMDb. I'll give him that. And he used a person of color to play Helen of Troy, which really upset Elon Musk. So he's a trillionaire, but he doesn't like his favorite characters from literature being misrepresented by woke people looking to win Oscars, or people to win Oscars from woke people. Probably got it the wrong way around. So yeah, MJ Hundy, we need that comment framed. Women make as much sense as Inception and Interstellar. That might be the comment of 2026. I love that one. Can everyone give MJ Hundy some love? That is a ripper.
I think we're here to help you make that feel less confusing. So hopefully we've helped a little bit with that. Okay. Next question.
Basically, I've already seen the movie like 275 times, probably 275,000 times, given all my clients I've coached. So I can explain it to you really quickly. You don't need to watch it like 275 times. And I've got Tess and Jackie and Val to help explain it to you. Thanks, Martin. Thanks for giving some love to MJ Hundy for his potentially comment of 2026.
Okay, so question from Virtual. What's the difference between an older man she chases and an older man she avoids?
Confidence. Not trying to be a younger man. I don't know what to add to that. Can you think of anything, Tess?
We've covered quite a bit of this tonight already. So yeah, I mean, we talked about things that might turn her off immediately, to do with hygiene and style, etc. But yeah, again, the kind of man she chases. Remember, like, what do women chase? They're not the guy who puts her on a pedestal and like is at her beck and call and whatever and is clearly desperate. She's not chasing him. She can't chase him. He's chasing her. So yeah, she tends to avoid those kind of guys. The thing is, when a man has confidence and he clearly is skillful with women, he has choice. So the way he acts is very different to a man who doesn't have choice. He might be a little bit more distant. He might be not putting up with potential tests, that she throws at him, or he just has boundaries as well. He has the filtering questions. It's clear that he has standards. That's what she's going to chase, right? So there are lots of differences between the man she chases versus the man she avoids, but it's a lot to do with both your character, your non-verbal communication, and your verbal communication as well. So there's a lot.
Yeah, that's good, Tess. Well done. Next point, please. Next question.
Question from MJ Hundy. Are kids a turn-off for women? Not for a relationship, but if I have them.
That's a fantastic question. I can't answer, nor can Tess answer for every woman, but I've been quite astounded by the number of women I know, friends, ex-girlfriends in some cases, who have intentionally gone after guys who've already got families, sometimes teenage, even early 20s kids, even though they're late 20s and 30s. I definitely think for many women, if the fact that a guy has already had a family and he's done that, they like the maturity. Many of them figure, well, if the guy has made it to 40s or 50s and he hasn't had kids, he must be a loser. Maybe they're talking about me, or he must just be some hardcore Peter Pan player. Maybe they're talking about me. I don't think it is. But I can't answer for every woman. So I think many women have either resigned to the fact that most of the best guys have kids. Others might really appreciate the life experience and the relationship experience that comes with having a family, and the maturity as well. I'm still, I take my business seriously, probably not seriously enough. I'm still really immature, even though I'm 55. So, but I don't think I would be that immature if I'd had kids. Tess, do you want to give your 2 cents? Plus, as Tess says, and everyone can attest to, if a woman sees you being really skillful with kids, or if she gets an inkling you're a good father, a loving father, that's like having a 12-inch big, thick, black thing that, you know, makes you look like an NBA center. It's even better probably because, you know, Shaquille O'Neal's probably going to cause some savage injuries to your average, you know, 5'8", 130-pound white girl. I can tell you that. I don't know. I assume he does. Proportionately, you'd expect so. Anyway, enough of my nonsense. Yeah, kids may be a turn on, and I don't think that anywhere near as much of a turn off as you guys think. You want to go, Tess?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. If you know, there are definitely women who would prefer you not having kids if that's like if they want to start a family and it's important that they want you to just be committed to her and her family, for sure. But I still I think it's more of a turn on than a turn off in general. And even so, I don't think that it's necessarily like a big red flag where a woman just would be like, I'm completely closed to that. Because, yeah, if she sees that you are a good father and have a great relationship with your kids, that is a huge green flag. That's like a big tick that so many women are going to be attracted to. Absolutely. So, yeah, I would say generally it's not a turn off.
Can you do almost 007? It's the last question. I want to add. I want to make sure we don't miss that because it's a great point.
This one?
Yeah.
I have to be honest, I go very direct and have been really successful. And a lot of women light up at the boldness and honesty of your direct compliment. I'm really surprised you're so against it.
Okay. If you're getting great results out of it, then you're getting great results out of it, and I'm not going to tell you to stop. I would, however, like to take the Pepsi challenge on our method versus that. I've been surrounded by models. Initially, I dated quite a few, and I've hired 60 or something. And almost uniformly, if a guy walks up to a girl who's already really beautiful and starts by saying something along the lines of, "You're beautiful," okay, I get paid to be beautiful. Every other guy tells me that. It's so boring. Who cares? What do you think? I'm a walking vagina for you to stick in and out of? That's the reaction you get. Jackie is absolutely mortified by it. Some other girls aren't so taken aback, but they don't like it. Tess finds it, I think, really uninteresting. And given she's got so much other stuff going for her, she almost feels a tiny bit offended by it, if I'm paraphrasing correctly, that's all you can see in her. Now, if you're just mainly going after average women or a little bit above average women, who might not hear that as much as, you know, Tess or Jackie or Natalia or Monique or the girls I'm interested in, it could very well work out. The fact that you go up to them and do something, that in itself probably separates you from every other guy. And even if the direct physical compliment takes you back a bit in their eyes, at least you did it. And beautiful women are so desperate, like they probably have never been in your lifetimes today, unless you were a teenager during World War II, which I don't know how many of you watching my YouTube. But if you're a teenager during World War II, come say hi. We'll give you 3 free sessions with Tess. If you're still looking to get your end over, get your leg over, when you're, how old would you be then? Jesus Christ. That's 75, you'd be a teenager. If you're 85 and you're tuning into Tess and James at Social Coach Sunday night, then yeah, say hi and we'll give you a bunch of sessions with Tess for free. We want to see some ID and we want to see a POW or war ID too. So anyway, I'm tracking on. I would just invite you to take the Pepsi challenge and do what we do. I think it's going to give you much more traction with the hottest girls. But yeah, if you're crazy successful and you're happy with the success, Keep going. At least split test it. I don't know what you do or where you live, but if you do a session or two with Tess and then try our method, having said that's not a good split test because it will take a bit of time to pick up our method to get to the level you are before. Yeah, I just, in my experience, I've tested this stuff a lot. I did a bunch of infield, wrote a cameraman, and I would try some lines like, I saw you looking at me, I thought I'd come and say hi. Or I've tried the you're really pretty, or you're really cute, or I just saw you, I thought I'd come talk to you. I've tried most of these. And a lot of times the girl would talk to me, sometimes I even get a number. But when I take it through to do I actually close, I open their legs and whatever, do what most of us want to do. I just found if I started off much more naturally and much more conversationally without projecting sexual interest, it worked better. Again, if any of you watch movies with subtitles, some of the best girls love guys who watch movies with subtitles. And I walk up to Tess and go, "Oh, hey, I just saw you across the room. I just wanted to come up and say how pretty you are. So yeah, what's been the best thing you got up to this weekend?" Even though we're doing a good opener, what she sees in the subtitles, if you translate that from man speak to female psychology speak, it's, this guy wants to fuck me. He's come up to me because I'm attractive because he wants to fuck me. So that's how they process it. And there's been a lot of guys running around doing direct approaches, being taught by all these dating coaches. And some of these guys are really, really weird and awkward. So, but again, if you're having success, don't stop. I haven't coached you. I haven't seen you. I don't know what you look like. I don't know what sort of girls you're sleeping with. I don't know what sort of girls you want to sleep with. Just do what works. But I'd love to give you the Pepsi challenge and try our method with the girls you regard as 9s and 10s.
Yeah. This is like, the thing is, if you deliver a compliment in a really, really authentic way that's just cuts through everything and it's like, bam, that can sort of negate some of the negative stuff that we've been talking about here. So this is the thing, like, guys, the advice we're giving you is broadly speaking for the kind of clients we work with and for guys in general. I'm not sure I've never met you almost 007, so you might have some other things going for you, or in the way you're delivering this sort of thing, which does have some positive qualities to it. And again, James highlighted that it shows a lot of confidence to be able to do that, and confidence is hugely and boldness, like you say here, which is hugely attractive to women, right? But if you approach her in a really confident way and you're bold and you're in your body language, and that means strong eye contact, handshake, you're really engaging with her straight away, that's pretty much the same thing as giving a really bold compliment, but you're negating the risk that she might respond badly to it. So we're trying to give you the absolute best fail-safe method, right? But there are definitely other things that work as well. And obviously this works for you. But yeah, I think it would also depend a lot on your delivery and the person as well. So obviously I don't know you, but you might be dressed a certain way or present yourself a certain way that also adds to the fact that she's being really open to you straight away.
Again, these questions are so useful to everyone watching, I believe. Have you ever been in bed with a girl and gone, and you're kissing her? What are you doing? Kissy, kissy, lippy, lippy, necky, necky, titty, titty, eat her out for 5 minutes and go, "Oh, can I stick it in now, please? Would that be okay?" Have you ever done that? No, because with women, you don't say things. You act them, you do them. You don't say, you do. Women say this so many times. "Could I touch you on the shoulder, please, as part of my escalation process towards a sexual relationship?" No, you just do it, but you do it skillfully. So I tell women, and my clients who I've trained properly tell women, we tell them they're beautiful. We tell them they're sexy with their eyes. It doesn't need to come out our mouth. So if I see, say, Tess in a tight dress at a supermarket, I'm doing, I might give her a little tiny little half smile as well. And then I'll probably look away and go back and find me broccoli and me Atlantic dulse. For those of you who missed my Atlantic dulse pitch, I don't get any commissions on that. So I tell women they're beautiful with my eyes, with my demeanor. They know it and they feel it. You know, always feel them getting drippy whippy when I look at them sometimes. Remind me to tell the story about how I knocked a girl off her feet at Bondi Beach one day. So yeah, I just think guys who are good at this or really good at this, they don't tell her she's beautiful with their mouth. They tell her with their eyes, with their body language. And I think that's the high value way to do it that gets you the hottest girls. But as I say, if you're getting great results, please split test our method. But I'm not, if it works for you, it works for you. And again, if you're actually talking to girls in 2026 or 2027, you're probably doing really well. In terms of telling a girl she's beautiful with her eyes, I know there's tons of Americans and Europeans watching, an iconic tourist suburb of Australia, Bondi Beach. Apparently there's a show called Bondi Rescue that gets huge ratings overseas. I was walking down a street called Hall Street and I turned right along the front drag of Campbell Parade. And then I can't remember what I was doing. I look up and there was this thing. When I say a thing, I mean, they don't manufacture these in Australia or America or certainly England. Really, they don't even make them in Western Europe. They only make them in Moscow and St. Petersburg and Budapest and Prague, the only places these girls come from. She's walking along and she might have been 19 or 20 and it was ridiculous. She just had this spray-on dress that barely covered her private parts, and it was so tight. It was so tight, and she had stupid heels where she was towering over me. She had heels, and then she had one of those stupid thick platform soles on top of the heels, and she's walking along. And it's one of two times in my life I talk about it where this girl's coming to, and she had sort of a designer label handbag like that, and she's like, and then she's like, woo, 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 just fucking yes, grade A Soviet breast tissue just bouncing up and down in my face. And I sort of look up and I'm honestly like, and then I just shot laser beams straight into her eyes, probably down, stopped in her lips for a second, and then trailed slowly up and down her body. It went right down to those silly sort of hooker shoes, and then back up to her eyes and just locked on her eyes like laser beams. I learnt this from the gay guys in Chelsea in New York and a wee bit in Darlinghurst, Australia, and Boys Town in Chicago, and whatever the gay area is in Rio, plus San Francisco. So I learnt a lot from those gay boys. Anyway, I look into her eyes, I look her up and down, and then like fucking laser beams into her eyes. And then literally she's like, she freezes like in shock at the amount of energy. I've got a lot of energy. I'm focusing at her. And she literally trips over the pavement in her stupid stripper shoes and just smashes, just comes straight down. I think she might have skinned her knee or something. And then I'm walking past and I go to be a gentleman and just sort of help her up. And then I sort of see this angelic face look up at me and I start laughing. And I can't do this. This is going to be too weird. So I just kept going. And then about 25 other guys swooped in and helped the young Soviet lady up to her feet. So the reason I've told you this is I tell women they're beautiful with their eyes. A huge part of our boot camp is teaching our clients how to tell women they're beautiful and they want them sexually with their eyes. So if you're not going to get training from us, you can just keep using your mouth. But I almost guarantee you'll get dramatically better results with the hottest girls if you can do it with your eyes and your body language, not your mouth. Does that make sense? Tess, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah.
Am I going to get accused of being a misogynist for making some young lady fall over?
I mean, she could have just tripped on something. I guess her focus was, you took her off guard for sure. No, I think it's fine. These things happen, especially in those shoes. So don't worry. But so the thing is with using your eyes, the key is the subtlety there, and it's subtlety, but it's also your intention's quite obvious, right? So the key with that is that subtlety, it means that there's an implied intention, right? And that little bit of mystery makes it a little bit more alluring for the woman as well. It's not just like, okay, it's clear, it's 100% clear what's happening right here. She's kind of like, oh, I think this guy likes me, and that sort of, I think he likes me. I think there's some chemistry here. I think he's interested, is definitely more of a hook than this guy's definitely interested in me, whatever. So with the eye contact, obviously, I think looking her up and down is great. Like, she's like, oh, this guy's checked me out. But you have to be careful as well not to be like ogling her to the point where she's like, oh my god, this is super creepy. So yeah, we teach you how to do this in a skillful way.
Just in my own defense, I spent, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds on her eyes, maybe 5 seconds just trailing up and down the body. I never stopped on the whoopee bits, and I went straight up into her eyes. And it was only there I let go my laser beams when I'd actually seen that what I thought I saw was real. So yeah, the point is that girl was in no confusion about what I thought of her physical appearance based on my eyes. It was wasn't an exaggerated example. It really did happen. It was a sort of edge case example, as my engineer friends would say. It was a several standard deviations away from the mean. So most of you have come here hoping you get some tips to meet and approach young, high quality, beautiful women. So you've got most of YouTube that teaches cold approaching, street approaching, direct pickup, which is what who was it, 007 was talking about. Some of the teachers, have these complicated openers, probably quite intelligent, but it looks like you came and asked for them. And the rest of you guys are just still swiping away on apps or going out to bars, drinking, pretending you're 25 again. So I'm not saying none of that works. It clearly does. What's his name is having some success with it. Almost 007. But what we teach you to do is what I call social engineering. And I've had a lot of sex from a grocer in Bondi Beach, and also a couple of times in sort of New York corner delis, where I'm shopping, say in the vegetable section, and a girl walks in who's attractive. And rather than walk up and go, hey, I'm just cooking some food and I'm a man and I don't know how to cook, I was wondering if you can give me tips on how to roast sweet potato or whatever crap the dating coaches tell you. Some dating coaches tell you. What I would do is, rather than even talk to her, I'd be well presented. Again, that's the second thing social coach helps you with. We get your conversation skills, your openers, then we dress you better, then we give you date plans and reading signals. So I dress okay, and I look over and I look her up and down, and I just go about finding my groceries. Now, not every girl comes and stands beside me, but some do. Tess, can you come and meet some guy who looked you up and down at the grocer? You're single or you're keen, or you just want to find out what he's going to do. Can you show a couple of signals that a girl might show if she was keen?
Yeah, I'd definitely like be looking back at him a few times, that sort of thing. I'd be getting closer to him, or putting myself in his line of vision so that I know that he's seen me again, that sort of thing, just to see, is he going to take this step? Is he going to come approach me? That sort of thing.
So I look girls up and down in a gentlemanly manner, not sort of staring at their tits or anything, or staring at their bum. And then a percentage of them will come and stand somewhere in my vicinity and do some of that. And then I just turn around and literally I've gone, oh, hey, can you possibly help me find the broccoli? I think they've moved it. It works. It works. You don't need some fancy opener from the latest AI social skills tool. It's so complicated. You just need to do that. So rather than direct game and aggressive infield approaching, we teach you how to read signals. We teach you how to start conversations really subtly. We teach you how to read body language. We teach you how to project body language. We teach you what I call social engineering, engineering situations where the women come to you. You don't need to be the needy beggar going out to get girls, because I've got models from pure cold approach quite a few times in a bookstore, and I've done that from bars as well. But most of my success with women has come from social engineering, where I'm either sending signals, reading them when they react to them, and then being a man from there, with the girls sort of taking part in the investment of the approach, the seduction, whatever you want to call it. And sometimes I'll go into a cafe or a sauna I go to regularly, or a yoga studio, and I'll engineer it so that I'm the high value guy or one of the high value guys in that place, so that women just come after me. So we're not so much about cold approaching, swiping on apps, direct approaching, which I've tried it with girls I find attractive and it's never worked that well for me. You might say if I did more of it, I could have success, but I'm having plenty of success with the girls I want through my, what I consider much more natural, less abrasive methods. Hope that was really valuable. Thanks so much for the question, man. As you can see, some of these questions get so many other good tangents come off them. That's hopefully very valuable to you.
Okay, next question. Squid Hunter 64, welcome.
Welcome,
Says, my experience with women 35 and under is that they are very flaky when it comes to committing to a date. They don't want to plan ahead or have no problem canceling plans last minute.
Okay, dating, as sort of we grew up with, might not be quite as big a thing with the younger generation.
They're being massively sexualized by Taylor Swift and all these celebrities and all these TV shows and movies. So they might be a wee bit easier than the women of the 80s, who, the AIDS era, where their legs were super glued tight together for a whole decade, 15 years maybe. So they might not be as keen on dating. But yeah, I mean this with the greatest respect. You might find you haven't built enough attraction or enough rapport in order to get them to actually show up on a date. If a girl shows up on a date with you, she's generally going to change her outfit a bunch of times. She's probably going to invest half an hour minimum, in some cases an hour or 2 hours, hair, makeup, wash hair, makeup. If she thinks it could be sexual, she's going to wax things. She might do it herself. She might go somewhere. There's a huge investment in dating for girls, and we just make sure we don't stink, basically, and wear a clean pair of jeans. Not even a pair of jeans that's not dirty. We don't need to wash them. So there's very little investment for men in dates, and there's huge investment for girls in dates, plus the outcome of dates. How many of you went on dates with a young lady who's probably 2/3 or half your body weight, worrying you're going to get raped? Did you think she was going to take a big black dildo and shove it up your backside on a date? You probably never even, the thought never occurred to you in your life, unless you're watching some pretty crazy porn on the internet, which I suggest you don't. But yeah, every attractive woman, that's one of her big fears. I go on a date with this guy, I don't know him that well, and I get raped. Or even she just gets put in a very, very uncomfortable situation, which could just be a 2-hour dinner where the conversation dies and it's a bit awkward for her to get away without telling a bunch of lies. So yeah, it's good that you're actually getting dates, you're getting phone numbers, you get them to agree to dates. But yeah, I would suggest the real problem is you've probably got to build either more attraction or you've got to build more rapport. It's possible you're really confident they're attracted to you, but given there's an age gap, they don't feel you know enough about them and respect them in order to actually show up on the date. or it could be you've built a bit of connection, but they don't really feel attracted to you, particularly if you're quite a bit older than them, in terms of touch, eye contact, body language, conversation skills, how you escalate, how confidently you ask them out. So they might not feel there's enough connection. Tess, did you want to add anything to Squid Hunter 64's excellent question?
Yeah, I think that women, again, remember women who are under the age of 35, like, yeah, even like under the age of 30, have a lot more choice than women older than that. So yes, it's just kind of logical that they would be more flaky in that regard. You know, they've got options, or they have other priorities, etc. So yeah, that's just something that you have to deal with. They don't want to plan ahead or have no problem canceling last minute. Yeah. So it depends on the woman as well. If she's got if she's got a busy social life and she's got a lot going on, she might have things that she enjoys doing more than dating as well, like as in dating new people. So yeah, it's just a part of life. It's again, women who are in their 20s, early 30s, they're probably the most desired women. So they just can be flaky.
Yeah, that's very true. Again, Jackie made a great video about that. Tess is now 35. I'm sure you'll still be very desired for another 10 years or something. She's probably eating her broccoli with dulse like me. That's why. I think one of the comforts, I just want to follow up on this. I think one of the comforts of going direct is it justifies the approach. It would feel weird for me to approach a woman on the street just to talk. By going direct, it justifies why I'm stopping her. Agree completely. And you've touched on something that is very important. It gives the guy a really easy opener. You're cute. I just came up to say hi. So yeah, I would invite you to go, rather than talk about her beauty or say she's cute or say, I noticed you, just say, hey, I just want to come and meet you. She knows it's about sex, but you're not promoting it as much. That can work as well. I've tended to find the best results come where I just find some way to start a conversation with her. And with me, I did a bunch of infield. It was just as simple as, hey, how's your day going? With a bit of Steve Irwin energy. They're like, good. And I'm like, oh, cool. So what's been the best thing that happened to you this week? And they're like, I did this. And they're very reluctant, or at least they pretend to be very reluctant, but then I just suck them in with energy. That's worked very well for me in terms of actually transitioning a very cold approach to dates and sex. But again, yeah, remembering you're beautiful, I just came to talk to you, is a very easy opener for guys who are just beginners. So I'm not completely poo-pooing it, but I think I'd love to see you split test direct method against social coach method. Okay, we might just get back to the question, to the actual what we promised. We've done be cool with your age. Stop stressing about baggage. Stop stressing about baggage. Yeah, we talked a bit earlier tonight. Guys are stressing out. They've got kids. No younger woman without kids is ever going to want them. Yeah, one of my best friends in my 20s and early 30s, and definitely one of my sort of initial role models with women. He had 3 daughters to 2 women. 2 of the girls, his daughters, lived with him. When you're really good with women, God gives you beautiful women to mate with and makes them tall and leggy, and then your daughters pay you back for all the hearts you broke. So yeah, that's what happened to my friend. That's probably what happened to me if I succeed in finding my early 20s Russian supermodel turned nutritionist, literature loving, philosophy reading, meditating wife. So yeah, my friend, he basically used his kids to manipulate the girls, his daughters. And it's like, just to let you know, you're great, Jody. There's no way in hell you're ever going to be a tiny bit as important to me as my daughters. They're the most important thing in the whole world to me. And what he did, whether he actually realize the actual female psychology of it, he probably did. He's a really good public speaker. Was he set this challenge for women, and beautiful women love a challenge. A number of times I've been traveling and I've told some girl, sometimes a model, listen, this is great. I really enjoy meeting you. If we were met in our home city, I mean, you could possibly be my girlfriend, but I'm leaving soon. So just to let you know about that, don't get all shitty with me when I leave. And all it is just like putting a red fucking cape out in front of a bull. You just, I'm going to make him stay. I'm going to try harder. I'm going to make him stay. So you guys are all stressed out about kids. But yes, so often you can use it to your advantage if you know what you're doing. Again, with previous marriages, a lot of guys think this is horrendous baggage. But yeah, you've made so many mistakes in relationships. You've learned so many lessons. You're probably not going to repeat it with this girl 15 or 20 years younger than you. And a lot of high quality younger women love that. They actually want it. And many of you who've had kids already might be actually more attractive on the surface than me, who's 55, probably still bloody confident, who they just think I'm some, never ever stop player. Gray hair. Again, I really don't think I've been disadvantaged this at all. If I was still interested in sleeping with girls in their teens, as in 18, 19, 20, maybe I would be, but I've sort of grown out of that. I just don't think this has affected me that much with women in their 20s. One or two women have commented on it. Two girls and at least one of my female coaches said, you should color it. You should color it. You should get rid of the gray. I'm like, I can't be fucked doing that. And I think that was a woman's test to see whether I'd get all, oh, I got gray hair. No girl's ever going to want me. So yeah, gray hair shows life experience. It shows relationship experience. It also, without going on about it, it also shows sort of status in society. I mean, the number of guys I know who are financial advisors or psychologists or accountants, and as soon as they get some gray hairs, suddenly their annual income goes up because it's, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. A good friend of mine is probably one of Australia's best split tester marketers, and he went gray very, very young. It could be because of vegetarian plus stress. And yeah, so even in his mid-30s, he was very grey. And he made so much money. And I think it might have been because of his grey hair. Wrinkles, again, can equal life experience. And yeah, we're in our 50s. We don't have the abs we used to. One guy referenced you got to keep doing sit-ups. Yeah. One of the biggest turnoffs for my model female coaches, this was in their 20s and especially in their 30s. We just did a panel with 3 models. Tess was one of them, a clinical psychologist and a Russian model. They all said guys who were big muscles were just like horrible, disgusting, yucky dudes. They didn't want them. They didn't want vain guys. One of the female coaches said, I don't want a guy who goes to the gym regularly. I want him spending time on his brain and his career to provide resources for me. I don't want him going to the gym frantically trying to impress other women. Another female coach who's a clinical psychologist said one of the most revolting things a guy can ever do on a date is he goes out to dinner with her and he pre-packs his boiled chicken and his 6 boiled eggs to get his protein requirements for today so that he can keep getting his calves and his delts and his biceps going. She said that's just fucking revolting. And my Russian accent's poor, but what good is beauty in men's? I need men's to be men's. What do I need beauty? My girlfriend's beautiful. What do I need beautiful men's for? What was the saying? Val said, a man needs to be slightly more handsome than a chimpanzee. That's all they require, but they need you to be a man. And social coach is largely about you being a man. And yeah, an exception to the muscles rule is if you literally play professional football or basketball and your muscles are, or maybe you're a male model, and your muscles are part of your job requirements. And pretty much every female coach I've hired who dated male models, and most of them have, they all thought they were repulsive.
So yeah, just stop stressing about baggage. I mean, you may have some horrendous baggage that is horrible that we haven't covered here. But Tess, over to you. What do you think about guys stressing out about their kids or their greys or their wrinkles or their bit of excess skin and a bit more body fat? How does that land with you?
Yeah, I definitely, this is, so we've sort of touched on this throughout different questions that have come up tonight at different points. But yeah, again, someone who's really comfortable in their own skin, comfortable with your situation, just owns it, just, yeah, is cool with your strengths, your weaknesses, like, you know who you are and you have self-esteem. That is super, super attractive. Okay, so yeah, if you're stressing about having kids or having having an ex-wife or whatever your baggage is, that's that insecurity is what is unattractive, right? So yeah, just own it, you know. And the thing is, when you do own it as well, the way you're selling it is as not a problem, and that's the way it's going to be received. If you're like tentative about something or trying to hide something or stressed about something, it's such a like indication that you're insecure about that she's going to, that's the way she's going to receive it. She's going to be like, oh, okay, this is something bad. I should be seeing that as something bad. So so yeah, stop stressing, guys. And yeah, if you know, we talked about the kids thing as well. If you're a good dad, you have a great relationship with your kids, that's yeah, that's awesome. Women are going to love that. So yeah, again, if there's some other baggage that's a little bit more complex, etc., obviously that's a bit more nuanced. But yeah, in general, just be comfortable in your own skin, you know who you are, and get on with it.
Fantastic. Okie dokie. And our final point. This is the 7th of the 5th point. I a bit over delivered. Never make it about her youth or beauty. Repeat, never make it about her youth or beauty. Why should you listen to me on this subject? Well, basically from age 39, I think. I had a bunch of bi girls before, but I think it was 39 to 44 or something. I basically had 2 bisexual girlfriends, and I saw others. And one was 18 years younger than me, one was 22, and one was 25. And the 25-year-old I met her when she was 22. Just prior to that, I hooked up one of my ex-girlfriends who was a fly around the world model with my current girlfriend. And I met all these girls and they're 22. And yeah, so whatever success I've had with women, so much of what I try to achieve, yeah, I've had quite a few women. I'm not in the Wilt Chamberlain category by any stretch, the famous American basketballer. So much of what I want to achieve with women is to get really high quality, intelligent, somewhat mentally sane women who are very, very beautiful and younger than me. So one of the reasons I think I've been able to achieve this is because I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, in terms of a girl I'd actually bother with, I value intelligence more than I value beauty. Yes, let me repeat, I value intelligence more than I value beauty. Now, again, I say this stuff about myself to reflect a mirror on you. You might not value intelligence as much as I do. You may value a girl who's really sporty or athletic, or a girl who's really fit. You may value, I don't know, what are other things? A girl who's very feminine, which is very important to me as well. You may value a girl who's got similar interests to you. You may value a girl who's really funny, or better still, a girl who thinks you're very funny. So yeah, so you don't make, and one of the reasons I've been able to date women dramatically younger than me, many half my age, you know, I've had, I've used the line, I used to use the line, oh, you weren't born when the share market crashed in 1987. Then I think I used the line, I can't remember what my next one was. I just had a whole bunch of very important historic landmarks. Or you weren't born when the Berlin Wall came down, or something like that. I don't know, I was a bit of a Dire Straits fan. You weren't born when Dire Straits released Brothers in Arms.
but yeah, I've had to use, you weren't born when the World Trade Centers came down. I used that a couple of years back. So yeah, it gives you a rough idea. But sincerely, if I've got a secret, it's I really value these dramatically younger women as people, not just objects. And I think that's almost been a cheat code for me. Just quickly, yeah, I mean, I've obviously just demonstrated I'm into girls who read a lot of literature. In part, that can make a girl who's much younger than you very easy to date because she's got massive life experience from the characters she's experienced in these books. But one of the great women in my life, who probably wasn't long-term dateable, her favorite book was Germs, Guns, and Steel. Now, the model I was traveling with, she saw some books and she looked at the books I had in my backpack, and immediately she grabs Machiavelli's The Prince and started reading that. Another one, the great woman in my life, who's probably the greatest, maybe not the one I love the most, but the greatest. She read more books than anyone I knew. And at age 20, she was smarter than really any man I've ever met in Australia. Literally, she was that brilliant. So yeah, I talk about women who are dramatically younger than me, but I also talk about how remarkable individuals they are. The one whose favorite book was Germs, Guns, and Steel was extraordinarily charismatic, like so absurdly charismatic and funny on top of her beauty. I once used her for a dating seminar, and on her debut, she basically stole the stage from me as a public speaker, and public speaking is about one of the only things I can do. And yeah, she just transfixed the crowd on her debut, and this is when she's 25 or 26. So yeah, hopefully you're getting quite a good idea about don't make it about her youth or beauty, which again, without poo-pooing direct approaches too much, if you're going to go up to younger women and start by talking about their beauty, and you know, you're 40 and they're 25, or you're 50 and they're 30 or 35, you're immediately calling out their beauty, which is sort of completely the opposite of what I strongly recommend. You want some people could use this in a anyway, someone needs some sleep, in a manipulative fashion. But yeah, I try to convince them that beauty is like way down the shopping list of the reasons I'm interested in them, and that works pretty well for me. Tess, did you want to add anything about my never make it about her youth or beauty rant, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for beautiful women who get told you're so beautiful, like every day of their life from like people left, right, and center, and that's the first thing that people value about them always, it becomes extremely devalued. Like obviously women like being told they're beautiful, yeah, but when she hears it all the time, it's like, okay, cool, like tell me something I don't know, you know. And yeah, it's really it becomes frustrating when that's the only thing people value about them as well. That's what James was alluding to earlier when we say like it can be like a bit insulting when that's, you know, you put so much focus on that and nothing else. So so yeah, the important thing is to figure out how does she value herself? If she values herself for her beauty and that's like the one and only thing, cool, tell her she's beautiful. If she values herself for other things, like her unique qualities, her values, her skills, her intelligence, whatever it might be, and you compliment her on that, or you connect with her around that thing, then then that's gold. She's like, wow, this person really sees me the way I see myself, or the way I value myself, and that's authentic connection. Okay, and that is worth so much. It's so important. So so for really young beautiful women who get told that they're beautiful all the time, it's definitely not the strongest thing to lead with, unless it's the thing that she solely values herself on, which is probably a bit of a red flag. So we don't recommend that.
That's a gigantic red flag. That's a sign you should sleep with them at their house and not too many times, and don't give her your real name. and don't friend her on social media. You don't want to know who she is, because yeah, the bunny boilers are the ones whose self-esteem is so tied up with their beauty. Bunny boilers is a reference to a 80s or 90s movie where the girl boils the guy's son's bunny.
Okay, this is from my notes. This might be a writer downer. A big part of your job as an older man is to convince this young, hot little lady that you actually want her for more than her young, supple body, firm breasts, and pussy. So you've got 10 or 20 years more life experience on her. So she probably feels insecure about that. If you're 45 and she's 25, you've spent 5 or 6 times more as an adult than she has. 5 or 6 times more than an adult as she has. This is something hot girls get insecure about. Why does this guy actually like me? What do I offer for him apart from my snatch? This is the shit that goes through women's mind. If you don't address these issues, like in a sale, and picking up girls is the oldest form of selling, if you don't address these issues, these objections in a sale, then she's probably flaking on you, even if she really likes you. She might, go on a date with you, but you're never taking her home. So my secret is to flatter. With me, it's often their IQ, it's their worldliness, it's their gracefulness. It's something that's true about her that I genuinely like. Please note, I'm always honest about it. I don't make something up like the pickup artists and the dating coaches to justify it. It's not qualification. It's just calling out stuff about this girl I really like. Again, greatest book ever on dating dynamics. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yeah, you need all the social coach training to sort of actually execute the dating part of it, but that's the core fundamentals of social coach. Yeah, just always look at things from the other person's point of view. Understand female psychology. If you find an opportunity to give a girl a sincere compliment, do it. So yeah, I think never making it about beauty is probably one of my big secrets, and hopefully it's a big secret I passed on to my clients. That's why the method I'm teaching you is so much about discover the girl as a human being, find out what her passions are, find out what her hobbies and interests are, and escalate like a pro, escalate like a killer when you've built the connection. Little line from a 23-year-old I dated when I was 32 or 33. I explained to her I used to work in finance and it was very stressful because I had a big fight with the bank and I was actually going grey on the side. And when I started traveling, it just reversed. And then she was half European, half Latino. She looks at me with those big, beautiful eyes, most beautiful eyes I've ever seen. And she reaches up and she grabs my hair and she goes, "Oh, I can't wait." I can't do a good Latino accent. I'm going to embarrass myself. She grabs my hair. She goes, "Oh, I can't wait till you go grey, baby. It means you've grown up. And I think you're ready to just," she didn't say commit in a relationship, but that's what she's alluding to. Latino girls understand. They understand, because it's fucking statement of bleeding obvious, that if they're 25 and they get a super high value 33-year-old guy, they're probably not going to hold on to him. He's going to, whatever, he'll get sick of it. There'll be that girl will walk past and he'll probably cheat and break her heart. Latino girls understand this shit. Western girls, not so much, possibly part of the brainwashing. So she literally wanted a guy who was grey when she's 23, literally. So sorry, 007. I think direct game pickup is just absurd for beautiful, high quality younger women. It might work well on guys who just want to add to the spreadsheet of girls quickly rounding up insecure party girls or average looking women. But I personally think it backfires on high quality younger women. And I think most of my female coaches would, I know all my female coaches back me up on that. Beautiful girls don't like being told they're beautiful early on in the piece. Finally, Elon Musk is a trillionaire. Imagine you got a chance to meet the great man, and the first thing you said is, "Elon, you're worth $1 trillion. You're worth more than the 4 next richest people in the world combined. How good's that, man? Tell me what cars do you drive?" Teslas. Now, imagine if you went up to Elon Musk, who's, fucking compute in space and revolutionized the environment and revolutionized communication and is literally changing the world, potentially taking the human race to the moon and Mars. And you go up and start talking about
how much fucking cash he's got, how he could buy the Google guys and Larry Ellison, and maybe Mark Zuckerberg on a good day, he could buy them all at once. He lost more than anyone else has ever been worth in one day. Imagine you started a conversation with Elon Musk about that. How do you think he'd feel about it? He'd just go, well, fuck you, I changed the world. I don't even care about the money. That's what it's like if you go up to a high quality younger woman and start talking about her beauty, in my opinion. Tess, do you share my opinion?
Yeah, again, it depends on the woman. Like if she really values, if that's like the sole thing that she values about herself, then complimenting her on her beauty, you're validating that, which means it's a good thing. But we're talking about like high quality women here. Generally, like high quality attractive women, it's not the number one thing that they value about themselves. Okay, she's beautiful, and she's probably told it. People tell her that a lot, so she knows it. But for you to be able to connect with how she values herself, things beyond her beauty, that is so much more powerful, right? And yeah, if you're just obsessed with her beauty, or and you put too much emphasis on that when it's not the number one thing she values about herself, she's just gonna be like, go away, like that's just way too superficial. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, in part, I almost go out my way, maybe in a slightly manipulative way, to make girls think that their beauty is not one of the big draw cards for me. It's just one of them, which is often true. If you look at the women I've actually spent some time with, obviously I loved the fact they were beautiful or models or whatever, but there was so many other things I really liked about them. Okie dokie, we might do a few more questions and then round out. If any of you have a pressing question you need answered on the 12th of July 2026, or whenever you're watching the comment, you better ask it now for you guys watching live. We'll just do a handful more. If you've asked a question before that Tess and I haven't got round to, that you really want your answer to, maybe chuck it in again. Tess, do you want to go back to the questions for a sec?
Yeah.
Oh, before me, wait. Sorry. Okie dokie. Tess is not AI. She's a 35-year-old runway model turned dating coach for men. I didn't do my one, but that's okay. So what have we covered tonight? I can't remember what I called this thing. What do we call this thing? Tess, I'm a bit of a dildo. Here we go. It's on the screen for me. It's right in front of me, big nose. Younger women hate when older guys do this. That's my fancy YouTube title. 5 unattractive habits you should not do with beautiful women. That's what we covered tonight. And what do we go through? Number 1, don't be a wimp. Don't be a wimp. I know it's hard with the Me Too movement and some of the stories, but yeah, go up to it, be confident, but don't make it sexual. And I personally think don't go direct if she's much younger than you, but you do whatever gets you results. I haven't met you. If you're impressive, don't show off. Don't show off anyway, but if you're impressive and 20 years older than her, i.e. you've had 3 or 5 times more life as an adult to actually be impressive, don't show off. That's one of the big mistakes I've made in my own life. Talk to ugly younger women. Don't just talk to pretty ones like the pickup artists. Just get used to talking to younger women, the fat ones, the plain ones, the whatever. Just talk to lots of younger women. Get used to talking to younger women and not being weird and sleazy about it. Just, no sexual intent. I should have made one of the points, no sexual intent initially. By the way, if you go direct and tell a girl who's beautiful, you are just laying on sexual intent thick. She doesn't think it's a pleasant compliment. She thinks it's you going, I want to fuck her. I want to fuck you. I want to stick my dick in your hole. That's what girls hear when a beautiful girl hears when you say she's beautiful. You must pass her tests. You must pass her tests. My clients who became studs and got their dream girl said this was the number 1 most important thing I did for them. I don't know of any other YouTubers who do a remotely good job of this. If there is one, let me know about it. Send me an email at james@socialcoach. I'd like to check out what they do and maybe reach out to them. You must pass her tests. You got to be cool with your age. So many guys try to hide their age, or they're all cagey when they're asked about it. You've just got to be cool with it. And again, lying about it, there's often little micro tells that you're lying, even if you do look pretty young, like some people say I do. Stop stressing about your baggage. With a lot of women, particularly once they get much over 27, 28, they're actually attracted to what's traditionally called baggage. Kids, former wives, they like the relationship experience and maturity. And never, ever, ever make it about her youth or beauty. Make it about something special about her. It's a point from another YouTube live, but for anyone watching, the young men today have been completely and utterly rooted up the date with a big, thick baseball bat by society, and they're gone. They're just gone. You know, they're cutting their willies off, and they're, you know, so woke it's not funny. And what else? They're wearing pink, and they wore pink in the 80s briefly. I think Michael, what's his name? George Michael brought pink back for a bit. He turned out to be gay, very talented, but gay. And today you get sports teams wearing pink. Who would have ever grown up in the 80s and think some bunch of rugby union players or NFL players would have a pink uniform? I never thought I'd live to see that. And yeah, they're just totally gone. They're totally gone. And so the sexual harassment training they get in school, they're gone. Anyway, that's another one. So yeah, they're the points. If you've got any questions about them, fire away. Tess, you want to get back to questions? Comments?
Yeah.
Questions, whatever you call them.
Questions and comments. Yeah, a question from Almost 007. You message a woman to ask her out and you get the dreaded maybe or I'll let you know. In my experience, that almost always means no. What do you do when this happens?
So I don't mean to go on about one point, but I've been doing this for 20 years, and I totally believe you've had good results out of direct approaches. But it's like it works to open. It might get you phone numbers. It might even get you dates, but it's causing all these problems down the track. It's like if no, it's a bad example. So yeah, I would experiment with using social coach method rather than direct method, particularly if she's a lot younger. The other thing, I'm not going to be able to do justice to this in the small amount of time we've got remaining, but you don't want to start by getting her number. You want to actually sell her your date. You want to come up with a date plan. That's the third or fourth thing Tess does with our new clients. We give you a killer date plan. And you want to have a good date plan, which is basically just a step-by-step process from meet, do a few things, chance to escalate to your bedroom. And then you want to sell her the date plan so that she's excited about the date. She knows what to expect. It could be a legitimate maybe, or I'll let you know. That often does mean no. So what I would tend to do there is maybe just let it sit for a week or two. You're not going to get all of these, but you may get a percentage of them. I certainly have. And just text her 2 weeks later and go, oh, so oh yeah, I saw this video on YouTube about paragliding. There was this French guy who did XYZ. That was fascinating. Have you seen that, Tess? That would be the text message, but a shortened version of that. Just whatever you talked about when you met the girl or on the first date with the girl before she flaked on you, then you just bring that up in a short, succinct text. That's what I do. It's not my intellectual property. It's from a book called something. Never Lunch Alone or Never Eat Alone or something. And he talks about pinging. I'm not the first dating coach. I think a guy called Wayne Elise talked about that as well. But yeah, that's a really good technique for girls who flake on you. But yeah, I'm getting really big-headed here. I remember the last time a girl flaked on me. Like some girls have flaked and then I followed them up and got a date, or they flaked and said, oh, I'm really sorry. Can we do another time? But yeah, I wanted a girl. I didn't, and she didn't show up on a date with me and whatever. It was a girl who worked at a healthy food restaurant I ate, and she'd already seen me with my bisexual girlfriends. And it was probably quite obvious I was seeing them. So she agreed to a date very enthusiastically. And then anyway,
she flaked on me at the last minute. But I think I made some other mistake. I can't remember. But that was like well over 10 years ago. So yeah, I just don't get girls flaking on me. Mind you, the next date I get will probably flake on me after saying that. There may have been another one, but there's been very, 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 very few. I don't think there was, but there could have been one. I don't want to call myself a liar without that recollection. I still remember that girl. Her name was Lucy. She was French, and she had a whopping big chest on her. So I never got to see how good Lucy's rack was, which caused me a wee bit of distress at that time. Because it was a good rack. Anyway, next question.
Yeah, a question from KTE Constructions. So is the chalk and cheese thing wrong when it comes to women? Like in my business, it's good to have a team of very different capabilities, and they are my best squads.
Yeah, I like to date women. I don't know. It sounds big-headed. I suppose I'm very, very confident. I'm kind of useless at pretty much everything apart from 2 or 3 things. I'm very absent-minded and I'm a bit ADHD. Some people would say I'm charismatic. When I dated, like if you think of 6 or 8 women in my life, one of them was extremely charismatic, the most confident woman I've ever met in my life, the most intelligent woman I've ever met in my life. And I was batshit crazy about her. She was the most remarkable woman I've ever met, ever. She was 20. This is what happens when you read a lot of great literature when you're like 9 and 12. And she came from a very privileged family of prodigies, or her entire family were prodigies. Her brother was apparently way smarter than her. Anyway, so yeah, she was very like me. We were both incredibly outgoing and sure of ourselves, and it just didn't work. It was just the wrong people. But then when you think about the great woman of my life, I think I could actually have a long-term relationship with a family with. They were sort of the opposite of that. One was very sweet. I wouldn't say she was underconfident, but she was very introspective. All she wanted in life was just a guy who loved her, who was into what she was, which was basically yoga, meditation, literature, and, just weekends away. So I think she would have been a very good wife, mother of my children. Unfortunately, I still had the great girl. And the other girl who was very, very special to me, like incredibly special, love. She was a lot more she wasn't as sort of outgoing and sure of herself. So I think there's some sort of there's a lot to be said for having, if you're talking relationships, someone who's a bit different from you. Like there's a lot of science with this around business. Like if you're getting a partner or a founding partner for a business, you want very different sets of skills. And I think that works very, very well in dating. There's so much stuff I've learned from sort of business literature, business theory, like this is going to upset a lot of people. Apparently, if you're interviewing for a role, particularly a senior role, this is hard science. You've literally got to interview, like properly interview, like maybe 2 interviews, maybe panel interviews and test. You've got to interview 35, it could be 36, it could be 32. You've got to interview 32 candidates. Then once you've interviewed 32 candidates, you pick the first person who exceeds the highest of the 32 candidates. This is amazing tips I'm giving you. Guess what? That's exactly the same with dating. You successful guys who, some secretary comes to work, she's got a killer rack. She sees you looking at her. She wears her best push-up bra the next day. You're going home jerking off thinking about this new girl at work. And then, you fucking drink a bit in the Christmas party, hook up with her. Then she becomes your wife and then takes all your money, steals your kids and makes you want to kill yourself. You guys who just settle for women who drop on your dick which is so many successful guys do, most successful guys, then you complain all women are toxic, horrible bitches, and you go all red pill. It's like, because you never went out into the world and actually found the sort of women you like, or actually learned enough about women to tell a good one from a bad one. So yeah, I think with me, chalk and cheese, I definitely want a girl who's complimentary to me, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is an excellent question. Tess, do you want to give the pretty girls perspective on this? Oh, he's simping to Tess again. You simp, you fraud. You're simping.
Okay, so yeah, I think that the chalk and cheese thing. So I think polarity in a relationship is really, really important. Like the masculine, feminine dynamic, like polarity there is quite important, and especially when it comes to like sexual chemistry as well. I think that's really important. And yeah, complementary skills. Obviously, if you're, if everything's like super balanced and you might communicate really well, but yeah, you're into all the same things and there's no no polarity at all, it tends to end up being more like a friend zone type relationship, or a relationship where, yeah, cool, might be like really cohesive in a lot of ways, but it might be missing in terms of like passion and sexual chemistry, let's say. So so yeah, I think it's really important to have that polarity. But I think this question came up with regard to what we spoke about earlier tonight, where I said, if you've got something in common with a woman, you should definitely be, you should highlight that. People are attracted to other people who you have commonalities with, and I think that's more around like, the way you might view the world or perceive things, etc. But if you have a lot of differences, that's definitely not a problem. As long as you're acknowledging the woman's, opinions and the way she thinks about something, and you're engaging with that, and agreeing to disagree or whatever, showing your explaining why you think differently, that's completely fine. Yeah. Anyway, I won't go too far into that. Hope that's answered the question well for you.
What was Scorsese's movie about the Indians that I haven't seen? I think they got to 3 hours 50. So we can't go longer than Scorsese's longest movie. It would have been Gangs of New York till Harvey Weinstein went snip, 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 snip on a Scorsese movie. He should have gone to jail for that. Imagine editing something that Martin Scorsese finished. That's a sin. Anyway, I don't want to go longer than Martin Scorsese's latest movie because I'm not that good. So we're going to do the last question. There's a guy, Luke. I think that's the guy who's been with us from the start. So we'll make sure we do a good job by him, because we might not be getting 18,000 views if it wasn't for Luke. And Martin's still there. And Stella was a girl who came along early. So can we answer Luke's question? Can you see it?
Luke
or shall I just read it?
No, yeah, it's I've just put it up. Luke says, what about when women come over and try to be in your line of sight, but you're not interested in them?
Okay, that's a great question. I'd need to know more about the location. But if it's a socially place where there's plenty of other women you are interested in them, I use them to get the other girls interested. So yeah, even if they're quite, like, if you're you've talked before, I think you're a tall, very successful masculine guy. If you are that guy and a hot girl sees you talking pleasantly to a girl who's not that attractive, a lot of girls, nicer girls like Tess, will give you a big tick for that. They're like, oh, okay. And some girls who might not be that nice to be like, oh, what's that hot guy with her for? He should be talking to me. I'm going to go stand near him and see if I can get his attention. I've literally had girls at the supermarket where I used to do my look up and down thing, like smash it. You know how you get those little shopping baskets? Red shopping baskets or green shopping baskets you get when you go into like a New York corner deli or a little corner grocer or a supermarket. I've literally had girls bash each other's shopping baskets into each other to get pole position for me.
So yeah, if it's like a party or a bar or a gym or a yoga studio or a place where you're in some sort of a community, you can use the attention of girls you may not want to have sex with to get girls you want to have sex with into bed. I mean, for some really hot guys, just like some really hot girls, the amount of attention you get can be really annoying. Yeah, I tend, because I was so monumentally fucking hopeless with women, I tend to be as polite and kind as I can to everyone I can. I think that's just good karma. I think that comes back and rewards you, and I just think it's a really good thing to do. I think your stories of value. I had a client in finance whose dad was one of my richest clients, and his daughter, unfortunately, I think there was some medical problems. This was in the 90s, I think. She was a large woman, like she was a really large woman. I don't think she was lazy. I just think she was big boned, and I think she might have had some medical problems. She was a big girl. I wasn't going to have sex with her, but she was lovely, and she had, kind of pretty face as far as fat girls go. She had beautiful eyes and nice lips. She had an attractive face, and she was really interesting. She was probably one of the smarter, more cultured girls I met in my whole time growing up in Perth, Western Australia. And we had a good relationship, and she may have helped me get many more millions of her father's wealth, because her father just worshipped her. Anyway, I left the job for reasons I won't go into now. It was pretty brutal, and I happened to see her at a place I was eating with my girlfriend. A wee bit of a gold digger. I wouldn't have had a girlfriend if it wasn't a gold digger, but she gave me good sex lessons. And I start talking to this larger girl. And my girlfriend, with a designer label handbag and immaculate makeup in tow, she's like, how could he talk to that thing the cat dragged home? And that was like a really big turnoff for her. Apart from the fact this fat girl had 20 IQ points on her, and she was a lot sweeter and a lot lovelier and a lot more feminine, maybe 25 IQ points. And we had a lot more in common. So yeah, I always try to be as kind to, and obviously some of us are busy. I always try to be as kind and good-hearted to people. The number of times I've used sounds very manipulative. I've used a fairly unattractive girl in order to get me more attractive girls. So yeah, I understand you're a busy guy. See if you can find a way to make talking to her for 5 or 10 minutes of value to you. One thing you can do is just meet her briefly. Like my ex-girlfriend, the elite model, she was a genius. Guys would come up and talk to her, and she'd go, "Oh, hey, how you doing, Stuart?" She'd listen to their bullshit for 30 seconds or 60 seconds. She'd go, "Oh, thank you so much for coming over to meet me." And she'd touch him on the shoulder, and she'd be all sweet, and she'd tip her head sideways. She goes, "I'm just out with my boyfriend and a couple of my girlfriends now. But yeah, maybe I'll chat to you later." She just turn her back on them and she just blow them out. She could be super polite and then blow a guy out in like 60 seconds. And the guy thinks she was the sweetest girl ever. And she was nice to me, the tall, modelly one with the big boobies. So yeah, just try to be as nice as you can. If you've got a specific question around that, ask now. We're going to be 4 hours. We can't do 4 hours. We got to stop. So yeah, no, we've never done a 4-hour one, and we're not going to start tonight. So sorry for all these guys who didn't get their questions asked. If you could do you and us, Sterling Monk, I love your name. If you guys could put it in the chat. The video will be live on YouTube in, I don't know, 3 minutes. If you could just use this same link and put your questions in YouTube, I will personally give you a blowjob. No, that's a lie. I'm not going to do that. I'll be very grateful, and so will Tess, and we'll make more YouTube videos, because one of the biggest signals YouTube looks at is how much interaction we get on the page. I could probably do Rohypnol and give you a blowjob, but I still think I'll pass. Only a prison sentence and a cigarette lighter on my scrotum would ever get me to perform that act. I don't think that's homophobic. I think that's just me. I've had gay friends before. Don't accuse me of homophobia. I'm just trying to be amusing on my 4-hour YouTube lives. Tess, did you want to add anything before we sign off? We've got 1 minute and 45 seconds before we hit the 4-hour mark, which I don't want to do.
No, just thank you guys. Great to have some new people here tonight. We love, we love all your questions and your engagement and your support. And thank you for spending your time with us and some great questions tonight.
If you're still here, you want to max out your value per minute, book a date with Tess. She's fucking amazing. She really is. And like, subscribe, whatever, ring the bell, all that stuff. Share it with a friend. Post a comment on the latest video, and we'll see you next week. And on the video live, give us any requests for what you want for next week. We listen. I was meant to. Tess improved her background. I tried to improve my background, but I failed miserably. Anyway, keep smiling and bye for now, chappies.
See you guys.